solved the crisis. So clearly it's not helping. I mean, it may help some people survive, but it's not solving the crisis. It never ends. It never ends. So we need something new. And if you think the old way was really great, you donate. You know, that these tech companies won't accept simple regulation. What she's talking about is censorship that they have in England, where they will come to your door and they will knock on your door and arrest you if you post something that is quote unquote offensive. You post something offensive and you wind up getting hauled away. Just some simple regulation. No, we have a constitution that worries about. We can say what we want. I'm sorry you're offended, but my right to free speech does not end where you being offended begins. But that's why I thought JD Vance's clip was so spot on. You know, reject the view that sees only the sins of the U.S. and not its grace and graciousness. Its grace and greatness. Reject the two-dimensional view of your fellow citizens. That's the other thing. The left sets up they set up a false equivalence. They'll say, well, if you support Trump, you're a Nazi. Well, like, so are you a Nazi? Wait, what? That's a ridiculous equivalence. Well, then if you support Democrats because they have Grand Platinum, you're a Nazi. Well, it's different. It's different because, and then they filmed that was a while ago. He didn't even know what the tattoo meant, and they twist themselves into knots to come up with to make it the same when it's really, really not. And that's what JD Vance was talking about, rejecting. Don't fall into that trap of their false equivalence. That it's black and white when they want it to be black and white, but then it's all sorts of shades of gray when it's them and they don't want to answer a question. They don't want you to notice what's really happening. So I wanted to share that because I just thought that it was just so perfect when I found that cut of that woman today. And I'm like, you're the reason so many people didn't want to come to the U.S. We're afraid to come to the U.S. even because of what you had to say. So we're going to go to cut 6 here. So, all right, so if you've been following what's going on, and I know the boys love the whole, I don't think Justin's in, but Jason's in. I think it's Henry. I think Henry's in too. But Matt's in, so I got Matt and Henry, and I know Justin was a World Cup fan. So this whole thing's been going on because the U.S. plays tonight, 8 o'clock in Seattle Eastern Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And this thing's been going on. So one of our players got a red card, Folarin Balogun. Okay. He got a red card in the last game that we played against Bosnia and Herzegovina. So he gets thrown out for the rest of the game. But in soccer, not only did you get thrown out for the rest of the game, you get thrown out for the game after that. Okay. Now, I was, as I have said in the past, I was a varsity soccer statistician for this varsity men's soccer team. It's about as athletic as I got, as close as I was getting to athletics ever. And so I did that for a couple of years, and I actually got a varsity letter. Yep. I should probably hang it on the wall back here. Take it out of the box and put it back on the wall next to the knitted Converse that Rebecca sent me. I should put it right up there next to, right there. Put it right there. That way, yeah. I'm terrible at this. I can never be a weatherman. Anyway, maybe I'll find it and do that. Anyway, so then President Trump got involved, and Trump asked FIFA to look at the video, because then they started showing the video, and people are like, well, wait a minute. And they showed it in slow motion, etc. And you looked at it like, I don't know if he intentionally kicked this guy. It kind of looks like they, one was stumbling, the other one, they kind of got caught up there. But I'm not an expert. And honestly, I mean, I'm going to root for the Team USA, but am I staying up tonight to watch this game tonight? No. I'm going to be on the air tomorrow morning. I will be on Newsmax on Wake Up America early at 6:40 in the morning. So is Mary staying up to watch an 8 o'clock game? No. I'm going to be show prepping because I have 2 radio shows tomorrow. I will not be here tomorrow because I also have a TV hit during the 5 o'clock hour on Newsmax 2. So I'll be on Newsmax 1 in the morning at 6:40 and then Newsmax 2 in the 5 o'clock hour, probably around 5:15-ish. So I will not be watching it. So, I mean, I'm going to root if I'm watching the game. Like if I'm at a bar or something and Team America's playing, sure, I'm going to root for Team America. But am I going to stay up? No, it's not happening. So I love when I left you off. Trump was saying, no, you got to appeal this. You got to talk about this. And so FIFA comes back and says, okay. And they did. And they decided that they were going to reverse. So they banned the ban. They reversed the ban. And now Folarin Balogun is back in. And this is a big deal because this is apparently the only time this has ever happened in the history of red cards in World Cup soccer. So this is like a really, really big deal. And the U.S. is in a no-win position. Total no-win position. So, coming back, President Trump talked about it today from the Oval Office, and I was like, oh. He pulled it. He did what Trump does. And his Queens comes out every now and then, and his Queens came out today in the Oval Office. So, I will share that with you coming up next on 1210 WPHT.
Weather sponsored by Franklin Mint Federal Credit Union.
So I saw the play.
Starts with Franklin Mint Federal Credit Union. Enjoy early pay and free fraud and credit monitoring. Take control of your finances. Smarter banking designed for real life. Franklin Mint Federal Credit Union. Visit fmfcu.org/betterbanking.
Membership eligibility applies. Federally insured by NCUA. There was two guys running full speed that happened to crash into each other.
Your freedom to relax starts at Spring Dance Hot Tubs. Now through July 12th, save up to $5,000 on new hot tubs. Plus, buy any 3 hot tub products and get the 4th for just $1. Visit SpringDanceHotTubs.com. Offers end July 12th.
Pet parents, there are many sources to buy your pet food these days, but at Dogs and Cats Rule, we take special care in selecting our brands based on quality of ingredients, company transparency, and science-based nutrition. Coming into a Dogs and Cats Rule store with a dietary issue, we can help select the proper food. The best part of the visit is the shopping experience. That's Dogs and Cats Rule with 7 locations. For information online, visit dogsandcatsrule.pet. Dogs and Cats Rule. Shop small, shop local, shop family.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Audient Hearing.
Apple is raising prices for several of its devices to offset rising memory chip costs. The company announced that the MacBook Pro is going up by $300 to $2,000, with price increases for iPads, the HomePod, Apple TV, and Vision Pro reality glasses. iPhone prices are unaffected, but analysts expect higher prices for the iPhone 18 lineup this fall. I'm Jason Brooks.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. America is turning 250, and Rescue Natural Supplements is celebrating in a big way. For a limited time, honor 250 years of freedom. Buy any 2 or more single bottles and save 50% with the code FREEDOM250. That's right. Mix and match your favorite premium supplements. Enjoy half off every bottle. Whether you're you're looking for quality omega-3s, natural cholesterol solutions, weight loss, or joint comfort formulas, now's the perfect time to stock up and save. For over 40 years, Rescue has developed research-backed wellness solutions and high-quality ingredients you can trust. And with prices rising everywhere, there's never been a better time to save on the supplements you need most. Just go to res-q.com to mix and match site-wide and use that code FREEDOM250. Or call a product consultant, 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483, because freedom feels even better when you're saving 50%. Shop online and save now. res-q.com. Use that code FREEDOM250.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Lockridge, and I'm the host of a new podcast from Odyssey called Family Lore. In this podcast, I'm going to have people on to tell unusual and sometimes far-fetched stories about their families.
I've heard my whole life that she invented the margarita.
And then we're going to investigate those stories and find out how much of it is true.
He gets a patent 1 month before the Wright brothers. Oh my God.
Please follow and listen to Family Lore, an Odyssey podcast, available now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your shows.
We'll get down to 70 overnight. A few showers around this evening. Still really humid. Tomorrow, humid again. More showers expected. High 77. Partly sunny. Really nice on Wednesday. High 82. Thursday, 84. Possible thunderstorms in the afternoon again.
Broadcasting live from the Piazza Auto Group studios. Experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Talk Radio 1210. WPHT.
Welcome back. All right, so where did I leave us? I left us where the FIFA Appeal Committee had issued a statement that they were going to reverse the ban after looking at the tapes, and they made a decision. They discussed it, and they said, okay, we're going to reverse the ban. Big deal. Never happened before. So everybody is, of course, it's Trump's fault because Trump did get involved. And I even said yesterday, I was like, oh, I was really kind of wishing that Trump would not have gotten involved in that because everybody's going to blame him for, putting his thumb on the scale. But it's his team. I get it. It's his country. But it's being played here. I just kind of wasn't really thrilled about it. But he did. And now we have President Trump speaking from the Oval Office. This is cut 6 here, Henry. This is cut 6. This is President Trump speaking from the Oval Office. They were talking about the Trump accounts for kids because they started the 4th of July. And then they expanded because the Dells gave more money. These people must have like $1 gazillion. They gave more money, and they're inviting other big wealthy people, the horrible evil billionaires that the left hates so much, asking them if to donate to these accounts as well. So Trump goes off on a tangent, and here he is talking about this whole thing with the red card and FIFA.
Athlete, and I understand sports really well. And that wasn't a foul. That wasn't even an infraction. That was 2 guys running full speed that happened to crash into each other. You can't take your foot and properly place it on somebody else's foot when you're going, no, these were 2 great athletes that got tangled up, and this referee, who is a little bit suspect. If you check his past, I don't want to say that because I don't like to create controversy, but very suspect. If you'd like, I'll provide you with the past. He made a call that nobody could believe. Even people on the other side, they say, "Oh, we got lucky. Wow, that's." And it's very interesting. They say they don't show them in slow motion, and I never realized that. I never heard of that before. That they're not allowed to review in slow motion because it's so different. Because you'll take one little quarter of a second and you'll see that a hand is touching a neck, or you see something. Whereas when you see it in fast motion, it will look like 2 guys collided, which is really what happened. They got sort of entangled. He didn't do anything wrong, and he's our best player or one of our best players, a very vital player. And he gave him a red card. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't think it meant much. Then I started hearing that means he can't play in the next game, at least in the next game. I said, boy, that's a big, if it happened to another player, it would have been unfair. But when they take your best player, or just about, they have some great players, and they say you can't play That's very unfair. That's, it's one thing to penalize somebody for the game, but how do you penalize them for a game that hasn't been played yet? It's very unfair. You can't do that. So
you can't do that. Well, that's what soccer does. But Joe's like, you can't ban someone from a game he hasn't played yet. Well, that's the punishment. That's the punishment. So So now, Belgium decides that they want to find out what's going on with the appeal. All right, because they're playing Belgium tonight. So Belgium wants to know, well, wait a minute. We want to know why this guy is going to be in the game now. How come he wasn't supposed to be in the game? Now you're telling us he is going to be in the game. So they wanted to know how this decision was made. They wanted to see the paperwork, like, how'd you get here? Okay, I kind of get that. Like, explain yourself. I understand that. Oh, no. FIFA denied the appeal over the decision to suspend Balogun. Yeah, they said the chairperson of the FIFA Appeal Committee, Neil Eggleston from the United States, was not involved in the decision. The request was rendered inadmissible on the grounds that the RBFA, which is the Belgian team, is not a party to the proceedings and as such has no standing to appeal the decision because they weren't playing in the last game. So they can't appeal it. It's very, very, very complicated. So the RBFA said, well, to date, we have still not received any grounds for this decision, nor have we received the information we've been requesting since the start of this procedure. We never received a copy of the decision and the motivation declaring the player eligible, as well as the referee's report, which is a brief of FIFA regulations. So this is what's going to happen here. This is what drives me crazy. And you can, if you want to jump in, and maybe you're like a big soccer person, please jump in. 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210, or tag me in a post on X at Mary Walter Radio. But what's going to happen is, if the American team wins tonight, there's going to be a cloud over it. They didn't play fair, blah, 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 blah. And if they lose tonight, it'll all be good. I think if they lose tonight, people will be like, see, it didn't help you anyway. I kind of thought it was a no-win, but thinking about it, yeah. If they win, it's just going to have like an asterisk next to it, and it's going to be Trump's fault and the whole bit. So, so that's that. Yeah. So I wanted to share that with you, as well. All right. Coming up, we're going to talk about Governor Shapiro. I want to talk about him. Zohran Mamdani. You saw that lovely. Thanksgiving, the lovely 4th of July speech that he gave. He's sitting at George Washington's desk from when he was president, when it was in New York, because that's where he was sworn in as president. And this goes back at New York City Hall. And he's standing there, and he had all those people standing around him holding their little flag, right? It looked like a hostage video to me, because nobody's smiling, nobody's doing anything, because they're communists, and so they just stand there and do as they're told. And like I said, I wouldn't have been surprised if there were, on the other side of the camera, it's like a man with a gun. Like, you will do what you're supposed to do. I was looking to see if anybody was, like, blinking SOS. So he gave that horrific thing, and he blamed America for all their problems. And it turns out that his wife beat feet. So while her husband on the 4th of July is saying, we see masked agents terrorizing our streets, meaning ICE officers, not the Democrats, not Antifa. He's talking about ICE officers. And he also criticized monopolies and oligarchs controlling the nation's wealth, because he, who has never had a job, should be controlling the nation's wealth. That's the one thing with these little communists. They're all Nepo babies. They come from very wealthy families, and there's professional students, never really had any kind of meaningful employment, and they're going to run the country. They're going to run New York City. They're going to run. They're the best ones for the job. So, I find that funny. So his wife, in the meantime, because she's a real gem too, Rama Douaji, she left Newark Airport earlier this week for Mallorca, a nice Mediterranean island off the coast of Spain. She is serving as the artist in residence and one of the featured hosts for the sold-out Women's Sanctuary Retreat. Attendance costs about $3,400 per guest, because Mallorca is not cheap. And if that includes the housing, like, I would even go to that thing just to be able to go to Mallorca for just $3,400. I wouldn't attend any of the workshops, but I get to go to Mallorca for $3,400 bucks. That's pretty good if it includes, a roof over my head. Heck, even if it doesn't include the food, that's really good. The program centers on plants of the Quran through art, botanical workshops, and Islamic spiritual reflection. She is also scheduled to help host a second sold-out retreat in Corsica later this month, exploring Mary in the Quran. The timing of the trip, of course, people criticized it. You had Republican New York City Councilwoman Joanne Arola saying that nothing says America 250 quite like skipping the celebration for a Mediterranean vacation. I'm not surprised because she has made her hatred for America very evident. Councilman Frank Moreno says no one is saying elected officials and their families can't take vacations, but this was a moment to show up for the city and for the country. The mayor's office declined to respond directly to the criticism, but confirmed that she was not accompanied by officers assigned to the family's NYPD security unit. So she wasn't taking taxpayer-funded security with her. Although I would assume cops would say, oh, I get to go to Corsica, I get to go to Mallorca. Okay. I got to deal with her, but okay. I could see where they would like that. Earlier this year, deleted posts resurfaced in which she criticized the United States and American foreign policy in one message. And she deleted these. But you know what? She apologized, so it's all cool. It's fine. She apologized. It's totally cool. She criticized the U.S. and American foreign policy. In one post, she shared a message claiming American soldiers are not brave and accused them of slaughtering third world civilians. She's a real gem. Now, Mandami has said she should not be judged by past social media activity because she holds no official role in his administration. Okay. She doesn't hold an official role. Can you imagine everything Melania does? I swear this is why Melania is so quiet. She doesn't want to do anything because she knows that they're going to use whatever she does, anything against her husband. She knows that. So she says nothing. This one, though, could say whatever she wants. And it's totally fine. So, but on the upside, she's out of the country. And, you know, that's fine. I have no problem with that. I want to throw this out there before we go to break. And it's cut 4. And this is a woman, she works for the CNN. She's a contributor to CNN. And she also hosts a New York Times podcast called The Interview. And her name is Lulu Garcia Navarro. And we're going to talk about her again because she's in the news for something else too. And when she was doing this, this was last week. And I want you to hear what she said here. She talks about something, and I want to know if you agree with her. She kind of stumbled into a teeny tiny little bit of journalism, which I know is painful for them. But listen to what she had to say. She's with host Katie Hunt, is the person that you'll hear who interrupts her, is Katie Hunt. But listen to what she has to say, and I want to know if you agree. Go ahead.
I actually think the Democratic Party writ large has stepped away from the rallying around the flag. They have allowed Republicans to own patriotism. I mean, if you see an American flag now, you are going to assume that that person is a Republican. And you are not
really there.
Yes, we're really there. And you are not going to assume
maybe we are on the coast. I think we are in Middle America.
I think in a lot of ways we are.
One second, Ron. I'll give you the last one.
I think in some ways we are. And I do think that we are raising a generation, especially in schools, where we do not teach them the value of civics. We do not teach them the value of engaging in a sense of patriotism. I'm an immigrant. I come from an immigrant family. You talk to immigrants, there is an enormous sense of pride in this country. You come to when you are doing your swearing in ceremony, and it is just like an enormously prideful moment. But I do think we've lost that sense of unity and that sense of pride around the flag.
So listen, do you agree? Because I'll tell you, when I thought about this, I was like, oh, you know what? When I see someone flying a flag, I'm like, oh, great neighbors. I'm so excited. They're on our side. You know, I don't have to deal with the pride flag or this, that, or whatever. And honestly, in your own house, you want to fly your sexual preference flag? Okay. Don't understand it, but you knock yourself out. But I do. I think I subconsciously make that connection and go, oh, they must be conservative or MAGA or Republicans or independents who lean right. But I never take them to be Democrats. I don't take them to be leftists. So 855-839-1210 if you want to jump in, because I think that she's making a correct assumption. She actually stumbled, like I said, into some kind of journalism right there. And Casey Hunt said, maybe we are on the coast. I don't think we're there in middle America. And Garcia Navarro said, no, I think in some ways we are. That even in middle America, because the left is fleeing these coastal areas, the left is fleeing these big cities and going to the suburbs. And when they move into your neighborhood, you can't tell me like Bucks County, Montgomery County, when people move out of the confines of the city to the suburbs, because there's a lot of telltale signs, and they turn the suburbs blue eventually where they vote for where they're to change the place they chose to pick themselves up and move to. And it happens everywhere. So I do think it is happening inland. I do think that it is happening all over the country. I don't think that it's an anomaly just on the coast. She's like, well, maybe on the coast. No, I think it's happening everywhere. So if you want to jump in, 855-839-1210, or you can tag me in a post on X at Mary Walter Radio. Coming up after the top of the hour, we're going to talk to Brent Sadler about some of our Asian allies wanting our submarines, and whether that's a smart thing to give them our submarines, because that can very easily fall into the hands of China and Russia very quickly, that technology, because China loves stealing our technology. For a country that they think is really dumb, and in a lot of ways we are, they want a lot of the stuff that we have. So we'll talk to him about that. That's all coming up on 1210 WPHT.
No! USA is up 2-0. That is the most dangerous lead in soccer.
Relax, Mike.
See that, Dan? My left eye is twitching. That's my warning eye. It'll be 2-2 by stoppage time. It's never wrong.
With early payout from Bet365, I got paid the second they went up 2 goals. So to me, it's now the safest lead.
Early payout from Bet365, huh? Now my right eye is twitching, Dan.
Bet365. Winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Pennsylvania. T's and C's apply. In-app only.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathy Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
Bring on the fun and bring home a new Honda with a great deal on your favorite Honda vehicles. And finally take that road trip you've been dreaming of. Now's the time to check out the Honda Civic and HR-V. From Honda, the 2026 KBB.com best value brand. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get a 3.49% APR on the 2026 HR-V.
Visit Piazza Hyundai of Philadelphia, Langhorne, Pottstown, Reading, or Springfield today.
See dealer for financing details. Based on 2026 Consumer Choice Awards from Kelley Blue Book. Visit KBB.com for more information.
My obstructive hypertrophic cardiomyopathy kept me from baseball games with my boys. The stairs were too much. With Camzyos, my symptoms have improved and I can be more active again. Camzyos is a cardiac myosin inhibitor, the first in its class to treat adults with symptomatic OHCM. Camzyos may improve your symptoms and ability to be active, and it reduced obstruction in the heart 4 times more.
In a 30-week study, Camzyos, mavacamten, reduced post-exercise obstruction on average 47 units of pressure versus 10 with placebo. Results may vary. Camzyos may cause serious side effects, including heart failure that can lead to death, a risk that's increased with serious infection, irregular heartbeat, or with certain other medicines. Do not stop, start, or change medicines or dose without telling your doctor. You must have echocardiograms before and during treatment. Seek help for new or worsening heart failure symptoms. Camzyos is only available through a restricted program. Before taking, tell your doctor about all your medical conditions and current or planned pregnancy, as Camzyos may harm your unborn baby.
Visit Camzyos.com or call 1-855-CAMZYOS. Actor Portrayal.
If clutter is costing you time, fix it right away. Closet Factory designs and installs custom storage for closets, pantries, and home offices. Schedule a free design consultation at closetfactory.com. Closetfactory.com.
You don't need another opinion, just the facts.
What caused that crash on the Schuylkill? Will it rain before the kids' game? What happened at the school board meeting last night?
At KYW News Radio, we don't take sides. We take notes, delivering the information you need to make the best decisions for your family.
The news you need whenever you need it.
Depend on KYW News Radio, Philadelphia's most trusted news leader for more than 60 years.
Jim Cipriotti at Retire Ready Financial Group doesn't need Google to know you're worried about retirement. Between inflation, rising taxes, and the uncertainty about Social Security, he understands. That's why he offers a complimentary retirement second opinion. It's a no-obligation meeting for you to talk about your concerns about retirement. You want to know if you're going to be okay? Let's find out. 610-894-7415 or go online, retirereadyfg.com.
Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, NPN number 2083768.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free, and you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Free speech lives here with Kaylee Company weekday mornings on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
Welcome back. I'm Mary Walter. I'm not with you tomorrow. Now I have another obligation tomorrow, but I'll be back with you, I believe, on Wednesday. I think Wednesday and Thursday. I think. Yeah, pretty sure. But tomorrow morning at 6:40 in the morning, I will be on Wake Up America early on Newsmax. And then in the afternoon, sometime in the 5 o'clock hour, usually 5:15, 5:30, I will be on Newsmax 2 and 2, which is their streaming channel. So you just go to YouTube and you just type in Newsmax and the number 2, and then we're live, or just Newsmax 2. So before I go to what I wanted to talk about here, I just saw this clip. Can you get cut 16 ready? I know we talked about 250, but I think this is going to be really great. I think it might be very, very interesting. So this is Chuck Todd. And Chuck Todd, so by the way, I was watching over the weekend, CNN had fantastic coverage of everything going on all over the country on the 4th of July. So I want to give you that. So I was like, that's kind of weird. So we checked out MS Now, which was a cesspool. Miserable. They were talking about, slavery, and they were talking about Thomas Jefferson as one of the greatest presidents. And of course, they have one of his black descendants there, because then we had to talk about slavery, and we had to talk about how he held slaves, and, Sally Heming, and we had to go through that whole thing, right? So I stuck with CNN, and they actually did a really good job, because I was going through all the other channels and they were showing only the flyover or only the tall ships, and I wanted to see it all. And CNN had great coverage. So here's Chuck Todd over on MS Now, which was absolutely miserable. Just what a miserable, miserable group of people. And here he is getting all worked up over Trump's 250th celebration. Go.
I'm so angry and feel betrayed.
Betrayed.
I do. I feel betrayed as an American by him on this. Constitution is not perfect, but it gives us a way to keep going. It gives us structure for disagreement. It gives us a method for repair. It gives us the possibility of becoming better without pretending we were always good. It makes some of the same promises that some religious texts do for people. And this is why I'm so pissed off. Not because I love the country less, but because I love the idea of America enough to resent seeing it cheapened by this man. America deserved better at 250. Someday, I believe, it will get better.
So
It's in your hands.
He's bouncing up and down there like he's got bouncing up and down like he's got something going on. He's got to go to the bathroom. Something's going on, but he doesn't say what Trump did. It's just this weird, just unhinged ranting and raving. He can't be happy. It was such a great weekend. I never hated Joe Biden. I never hated Barack Obama. I never hated people who supported them. I can still like you as a person and disagree with you on politics, just like I can think you're a good person and still be friends with you if we're not the same religion. You're a good person or you're not. But for them, it's this weird mental thing that they hate him so viscerally that he's going to spend the 250th anniversary of the United States just ranting and raving and venting like I need to be in his therapy group. We're all part of his therapy group, right? We all got to see Chuck go through therapy. And it's because he has some weird thing going on mentally. So I just had to share that because I thought that was just very, it's weird and funny and sad all at the same time, you know? So much I want to get to. I also want to go back to President Trump talking about Ted Cruz in the Oval Office because that was hilarious today. And also, got some China news since we're going to be talking about Asia coming up with our guest after the top of the hour. I wanted to talk about some good news. President Trump doing something, another hostage being released, another one, which he gets credit for zero. But it's kind of like a political prisoner. How's that? And also, Mitch McConnell's wife, Elaine Chao, who was the transportation secretary at one point in time, did something a little odd. So we'll talk about that coming up right here on 1210 WPHT.
I've always wanted to learn French, but the app I tried didn't help.
If you want to memorize words in another language, there's an app for that. But if you want to really learn another language, there's Babbel. Babbel was designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. Babbel's different. Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Babbel feels like it was created intentionally by people who really know what you need to learn another language. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Tout ça, c'est grâce à Babbel.
Want to really learn another language? Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com to save up to 50%. Babbel.com.
In the military, the mission was clear. You knew what to do. Now, the mission has changed. Stepping into civilian life isn't about finding a job. It's finding your purpose.
I wanted a career that would leverage the skills and discipline I gained in the military. IT just felt right.
My Computer Career offers class schedules that fit into your life and skills in high demand. Put your VA benefits to work. Visit mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to jumpstart your IT career today. An elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000.
Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief took care of Eric's problem.
And now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Bucks County Estate Traders is celebrating 250 years of American craftsmanship and quality. Enjoy the rich history behind many of their over 16,000 pieces of furniture and decor. Complete any room, indoor and outdoor, all with the kind of craftsmanship you just don't find anymore. Right now, everything is 20 to 50% off their 4th of July sale. But hurry, it ends July 7th. Visit their Hatfield showroom or shop online at buckscountyestatetraders.com.
Hi, thanks for calling Uline.
Wait, did the phone even ring?
Nope.
Okay, so you answered before the ring. But now you're going to put me on hold, right?
We don't do that here. We're real people answering the phone, ready to help with your order when you are.
Uline has thousands of quality products for your business and warehouse needs, always in stock, ready to ship same day, and backed by Uline's legendary 24/7 customer service. Uline, we warehouse for you.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Through, says ABC News contributor and former State Department official Steve Ganyard.
Frankly, President Trump can let this go on forever because people don't want to think about the nuclear problem. They're going to say, I don't want my total at the gas pump to be so high. And right now, it's going to come down. And it may come down, and we could get down into the 60s on a barrel of oil because of this glut. So the Iranian ability to influence this negotiation is going to decrease. We'll see if that makes a difference at the negotiation table.
Ganyard says Ukraine attacking Russian oil refineries, creating long lines for gasoline in Russia is a dangerous situation.
Putin may wag the dog and attack NATO somewhere along Poland, Latvia, or Lithuania in a way that sort of distracts the Russian people away from how poorly the Russians are doing in Ukraine.
President Trump heads to a NATO summit in Turkey later today, where Ukraine President Zelensky is expected to ask alliance members for more interceptor missiles. FIFA's judicial bodies are independent. They operate autonomously, says the head of soccer's governing body in a statement, essentially denying he had any influence over the decision to reverse a red card suspension so the top U.S. scorer can play in tonight's game against Belgium. President Trump phoned the head of soccer's governing body about it.
All I did was ask for a review. I didn't say you have to do this.
Heavy rain yesterday, more rain today, leading to flood watches from Virginia and North Carolina to Pittsburgh, Hartford, New York City, says ABC News chief meteorologist Ginger Z.
We're going to see this low kind of slowly move through southern New Jersey, and on the top of it, lots and lots of rain. From Long Island, we've got a significant risk for flash flooding through southern Rhode Island and coastal Connecticut. 2 to 3 inches per hour possible, with 2 to 6 inches in total.
At the close, the Wall Street major indexes are higher. You're listening to ABC News.
Of all the wireless companies in America, only one has 5 stars in every category from Consumer Reports, and that company is Pure Talk. Coverage, support, value, data. 5 stars across the board. Plus, no service contracts and no cancellation fees. Just phenomenal U.S. customer service on a crazy fast 5G network. Dial pound 250, say micro, and switch to a 5-star American wireless company that won't let you down. Pure Talk.
Ever wonder why you have insurance for your car or home, but not your digital life? Meet WebRoot Total Protection, your digital bodyguard that includes antivirus, identity protection, VPN, cloud backup, and more. With plans for individuals and families, WebRoot takes the guessing game out of cybersecurity so you can get back to living your best life online. Go to webroot.com/protect and get 60% off today. That's webroot.com/protect to get 60% off today. Live a better digital life with WebRoot, because peace of mind shouldn't be optional.
WPHT, HD, WOGL, HD3, Philadelphia. Philadelphia. From the Piazza Auto Group Studios, experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Free speech lives here. The WPHT Afternoon Show.
Welcome back. I'm Mary Walter. If you're just joining us, hello. Don't forget, the live cast is tomorrow night, and I know so many of you from here, from PHT, you guys are great, and Susan's fantastic. She gets you all over to the live cast. We didn't have one last Tuesday because I was in the city at a conference, and so there'll be one tonight. And we have some filmmakers on who have 2 different projects to talk about. One of them is a documentary that just debuted on Newsmax America at 2:50, so we'll talk to them about that. And they've been on before, so you may be familiar with them. Mandy and Jack Smith. Mandy Del Rio Smith and Jack Smith. There you go. I got it right. All right, joining us now, Brent Sadler. Brent is a senior research fellow for naval warfare and advanced technology in the Allison Center for National Security at the Heritage Foundation. That's one heck of a large business card. Brent, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks. I need to reduce that title to just ex-Navy Brent. All right. Okay. Great to be on your show.
Thanks. I'm so glad you're here. And you can find him on X at Brent D. Sadler. You need the D. I learned that the hard way today. You need the D. So
yeah, I'm not the CNN guy.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I didn't even see him. The actual just plain Brent Sadler was somebody else. So he clearly didn't get the first dibs on it either. All right. So let's talk a little bit now. I'm going to admit I don't know a lot about this, so we're going to learn together here. So apparently North Korea claims to be developing a nuclear sub, because what could possibly go wrong there? And so, because first of all, that's my first question. Can we ask that one first? Like, okay, do we trust North Korea to have the technology and the ability to be dealing with it to make a nuclear powered submarine?
Well, I think the Russians are probably the ones that are helping them along on that front. And I mean, of course, if they try to just do it indigenously with the nuclear know-how that they've got, with the weapons that they've developed, there's going to be a lot of learning and probably some mistakes, just judging by how the Soviet Navy did. And the North Koreans are not the Soviet Navy, to be sure. So, yeah, there's lots of ways to go about it. A lot of messy potential. And it'll be all on the North Koreans if they do it, because if they have a failure with it, it's either going to sink in some very deep water in the Sea of Japan, or it's going to be a problem in one of their ports. You're not going to have a nuclear explosion or anything like that, but it basically would make a ports area pretty uninhabitable for a little while, right around the immediate pier area where they have a problem.
Yeah, and I mean, because this is a country that can't keep the lights on. So, I wonder how are they going to manage a nuclear-powered submarine. It's like kind of giving a kid one of those chemistry sets from back in like the 50s when it had all sorts of chemicals in it that you should never touch, and let alone let a child touch. So that's when I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to accidentally blow up the whole world. So with Russia helping them, it's probably easier. So now apparently, because if North Korea gets one, now all the kids in the neighborhood want to have a nuclear-powered sub because it's the hot thing to have now. So now South Korea and Japan now want nuclear powered subs. So Japan doesn't have nuclear powered subs?
No. So Japan has operated nuclear surface ship. They had one. It was a survey vessel, scientific research. They decommissioned it in the early 2000s. And we had one too, a commercial ship called the USNS Savannah. And it really never paid out economically at the time. I mean, that was not its purpose. But nuclear submarines are kind of all the rage now since AUKUS. But to be clear, the North Koreans have been trying to do this for years, even before AUKUS. And the South Koreans have always had as an aspiration to have a nuclear submarine as well. So it's kind of delayed expectations or delayed delivery of this acting on this desire. We'll see if the North Koreans are able to develop this. It's still, I think, high skepticism. But the offer, or the attempt by the South Koreans is very interesting, and a very interesting timing of it as well.
Okay, so now what was that AUKUS you were talking about? What is that?
Oh, yeah. So that's the Australia, UK, US initiative. It was started in September of 2021, And it's a deal between the three countries to help develop a nuclear submarine program in Australia. And part of the deal is, in the process, you're going to get U.S. submarines there and enhance our presence, our forward presence, while we're helping the Australians stand up their own nuclear submarine.
Okay. So now, why is the timing with South Korea interesting? You said that.
Well, the South Koreans the last year or so, and certainly since President Trump's come back into office, there's a lot of emphasis on revitalizing America's not very competitive and very, I guess, decayed maritime shipping and shipbuilding industry. And the South Koreans have been very active in this for the last year plus. And they even bought the Philadelphia shipyard, a company by the name of Hanwha. So they're invested in the commercial shipbuilding. And one of the key comparative advantages the United States has is using nuclear power as propulsion for these very large commercial ships. It's one of the ways in which you can, bring back American shipbuilding and shipping, because we're perhaps the best and the most proficient at navalized nuclear power. South Koreans want that. They also want to try to grow their market share. So it's kind of like a win-win for both parties. The nuclear piece is being a part of that, which is getting a lot of traction these days from Congress, both parties, very supportive. And also in the engineering world, this is something that's taken off. The United States has got, I think, leadership in the development of these new highly automated and built-in resiliency of these like small modular reactors you could put on a ship and other things like, powering AI data centers. And the South Koreans want a part of that. And part of the reason they want a part of that is they could also put that technology to use in their own submarines.
Okay. So I guess when I think about this, so does most of the world have nuclear capabilities for like energy, or because we're really hell bent on not allowing Iran to have nuclear capabilities, right? They're like, because they're telling us, oh, we're just powering the lights, when in reality they're really not. I mean, that's not what's going on, obviously. Yeah. So do all of these other countries have nuclear? I mean, how did North Korea get nuclear ability? And if they have it, why can't they? Wait. Yeah. If they have it, why can't they keep the lights on?
Well, they're a horribly managed communist totalitarian regime, and so there's no efficiencies, and that's why they've run themselves into the ground like this. But as far as how they got a nuclear weapon and a nuclear program, the Soviets back like in the 50s, this is, as the split between the Chinese and the Soviets. And by the end of the 50s, they were at each other's throats. So the Russians, the Soviets, became the best supporters of North Korea as a way to get back at China, and the North Koreans needed it. And the Russians at that time provided a research reactor in laboratory and the beginnings of what became North Korea's nuclear program. And then after the fall of the Soviet Union, the end of the Cold War, you had a whole network of these illicit, the Khan network in Pakistan that did develop a nuclear program, illicitly shared a lot of that with the North Koreans so that they had their first bomb go off in the early 2000s. So they got it on the sly. They probably have some competency to turn it into a power production. Whether or not they can miniaturize it safely and put it on the submarine is really a big question mark, and I'd be highly skeptical unless the Russians just delivered them a built nuclear power plant for a submarine.
So because other people in the neighborhood now want this, is this something that the United States, and I know you said we're working with Australia, UK, US, are working together to develop these reactors, et cetera, and get them with Australia, that program. So my question is, in that neighborhood then, it would be okay for Japan and South Korea to have this, or is that something that America's like, yeah, not really down with that?
Well, Japan and South Korea have agreements with the United States and also are adhering to, non-proliferation concerns. And that's why Iran is a problem, because they're saying it's for nuclear power, but yet they're refining and wanting the ability to refine the uranium way beyond the 10% and less that you need to have a viable commercial, nuclear power generation program into something that's useful for weapons. The Japanese and South Koreans have adhered to those non-proliferation, and they're treaty allies. So the trust factor is very high. They both have an operational case to be made for why they should have, why they would need to have a nuclear submarine. And they're willing to do it with us which is why I mentioned the timing with the South Koreans and the commercial shipbuilding, because there's a great place where we need, help in shipbuilding. The South Koreans need something that's going to get them more competitive against the Chinese to take back market share in the global shipbuilding. This is a way we can help each other produce a new type of ship that has a lot of competitiveness in the global marketplace, but then has a spin-off for putting on a submarine at the same time. And the Japanese and the South Koreans have similar conventional submarine programs that would be appropriate for adapting for this type of technology, small modular reactors.
So you seem to think, I get from you that this is a good thing.
For South Korea and Japan, yes, it could be a good thing, but it's the details are what matters. The South Koreans announced that they wanted to go full indigenous on this, which kind of ruled out the benefit of having the United States and South Korea work together for a commercial use case that could spin off into military use. And if they go that path, it makes it harder for the United States to partner with them, and it also makes it much more risky and costly for the South Koreans to develop their own indigenous nuclear submarine program. So it's a lot higher trust if it's done together, and I think if it makes sense militarily, based on what they have right now in their industry, to focus in on how do you leverage your conventional submarines into some kind of hybrid nuclear submarine case, which makes a lot more sense.
I just get really itchy when it comes to stuff like this because the U.S. has a history of just not making good choices when it comes to things like this. And I just see we have the capability. Do we want everybody to have the capability? Like, we engineered this. We have the capability. You start sharing it with everybody, then everybody has it, and we're no longer ahead of the curve. If everybody's got the same technology, now we're going to have to invent something else, and then everybody's going to want us to give them that too because they're allies, blah, 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 blah. So I don't know. Should I not be as reticent as I am?
So with the naval nuclear program, some of the most exquisite, most advanced technologies, material as well as physics knowledge is in the actual building of the fuel. And it gets really nukey, as we say in the Navy, very quickly. But the bottom line is the fabrication of the fuel assemblies, what goes inside the reactor core and how the fuel is handled. That's actually a very, very exquisite technology, and it's very advanced. That's the crown jewels, and the United States is not sharing that. And even if it did provide a nuclear reactor that had that technology in it, it's once you try to rip it apart to get in to figure out what's going on, that's very dangerous to do because of the radiation of the spent fuel. It's going to destroy and it's going to be very hard to replicate. So that's where the real product differentiation occurs, and where the United States has the technological advantage, and why the South Koreans should partner with the U.S. to build a new type of technology which would be shared. So it wouldn't touch this other very exquisite high-end technology. And then South Koreans, for their part, want to use low-enriched uranium. That's different than what we use with our nuclear submarines, which is a proliferation issue for the South Koreans. So this also addresses that issue. And a small modular reactor would be in that range of lower enriched uranium.
Yeah, and I wonder is this part of, because I see the greater Trump row doctrine. You see Trump in our hemisphere going after Cuba. Look what he's doing with Cuba. They're basically on their knees at this point, right? And not a shot has been fired, and he's going to get them through financially, right? Argentina, look what we did. Venezuela, what we did there. That is not all that is coming into the Gulf of America now. He wants Greenland. Obviously, why he wants Greenland is pretty obvious as to why he wants that now, because you can't have China coming across the polar cap. And because Greenland stands in the way, and he jokes about making Canada the 51st state, but honestly, what did they have to lose at this point? But it would insulate the United States. But we also have Hawaii. We have the West Coast, right? So if you can then bring Japan on, bring South Korea on, it to me, it almost expands it in that area, although I don't see it going much further than past those areas. But so it kind of makes sense in the same way, or am I reading way too much into this?
Well, I mean, the theme is energy resiliency, and nuclear power is definitely very renewable. It's one of the more green, though that wouldn't seem that way. But even the folks that were arguing just a few years ago for carbon zero and solar and wind are now also seeing the merits of nuclear power. There's nothing with as high an energy density, so smaller footprint, very little, zero really any emissions in the production of it, in the fabrication compared to everything else, to the energy that you put out in years that these power plants go before refueling. So nuclear power is really the backbone or the baseline for the most reliable, resilient energy grids across all those allies, so that we don't have vulnerable allies to energy shocks like we saw with the Straits of Hormuz. Our allies like Japan and South Korea were really kind of in a scary place. The Philippines was in a really bad place for a while as well, because they rely on fuel, petroleum, that's coming, like LNG as well as crude oil, that comes out of the Persian Gulf. So if you have a nuclear power baseline and then you have other percentages, like 30% is nuclear power and the other is local, like renewables, but then another 30% that's from petroleum from over the world, you can be much more able to adapt to world crises. And that's the name of the game right now. Ever since COVID, everyone is on supply chain resiliency, and energy resiliency is the byword that you're seeing time and time again.
Well, at least we learned something from COVID. There was a silver lining, that, and then our children were being taught horrific things in school. Those were the parents started to pay attention to what their kids are learning, and the world started to pay attention to, hey, how do I get my stuff? It doesn't just appear at the door. Maybe we should figure that out and make it a little bit. How do we keep the lights on? Maybe that would be a good thing. Super interesting. Brett, thank you so much. You can follow him, Brent, B-R-E-N-T, Brent, by the way. D. Sadler, thank you so much for joining us, and have a great rest of your week.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Great talking to you. More coming up on 1210 WPHT.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings 6 till 10.
Some of these problems are easily correctable. We could see significant improvement. Nothing is ever absolute. Nothing could ever be 100% yada yada. But man, we could have so many different better things if we just had that same mentality of, oh, we're having guests, company's coming over. Let's get it together and make it look like we have our house in order. When we know Philadelphia as a city does not have their house in order.
Start your day with Kale and Company, weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
You know what I don't like? Paying for something twice. I can't stand that. Hey, it's Rich Zioli. That's why when it comes to your roof, siding, doors, and windows, there's only one call you should make, and that's to my guys at Emmons Roofing and Siding. Emmons is a Platinum Owens Corning contractor, which means that Owens Corning backs not just the shingles, but the workmanship as well for life. That's right, for life. Roofing, siding, windows, doors, residential or commercial, done right the first time, every time. Go to emmonsroofing.com.
Hey, this is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Listen, I know sometimes you worry about coming to see me because you don't want to invest in real estate, because you don't want to deal with toilets, trash, or tenants. I'm going to teach you a way that you don't have to deal with toilets, trash, or tenants, or even own any real estate and invest in real estate at the same time. You want to learn this, so go to investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com, and take a complimentary class this Thursday, and I promise you, no toilets, no trash, no tenants.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Ethos.
Apple is raising prices for several of its devices to offset rising memory chip costs. The company announced that the MacBook Pro is going up by $300 to $2,000, with price increases for iPads, the HomePod, Apple TV, and Vision Pro reality glasses. iPhone prices are unaffected, but analysts expect higher prices for the iPhone 18 lineup this fall. I'm Jason Brooks.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com. Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to My Computer Career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary. Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Now, you can listen to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the iHeartRadio app.
And welcome back. We have some breaking news coming up, and I'm just going to wait until Matt pulls some audio, and then we will bring that to you, so we can bring it to you all in one shot. In the meantime, we were just talking about Asia with Brent Sadler, and President Trump's relationship with Xi Jinping apparently has paid off. There was a pastor that we kept hearing about. He was an underground pastor, because you have to be an underground pastor in China. And he was imprisoned. He was released 2 months after the president personally lobbied for his freedom. The pastor is Ezra Jin Mingri. He is the founder of Beijing's Zion Church, and he was one of 18 church leaders arrested in what an NBC News report described as China's largest crackdown on a single religious congregation in decades. The Inter-Parliamentary Alliance on China said, "We are overjoyed that Pastor Ezra Jin has been released from prison." They also posted a picture from previous years of the minister with his daughter, Grace, who is now a national security analyst with the U.S. Senate Republican Policy Commission. Jin's case came to the forefront after Trump, on his way home from a state visit to Beijing in May, remember that big state visit? It was really fancy and over the top and pretty fun to watch. He said he discussed with Xi the imprisonment of the pastor, as well as that of the imprisonment of Hong Kong activist Jimmy Lai. And Trump told reporters on his flight in May, he said he's going to strongly consider the pastor. Lei is much more difficult, apparently. That's what Xi said, that Lei is much more difficult. Lei is the founder of Hong Kong's now defunct pro-democracy newspaper, the Apple Daily. He's 78 years old. He's serving a 20-year prison sentence after being convicted on charges including conspiring with foreign sources and publishing seditious material. Said, "We hope this is a sign of a positive turn for people of faith in China and relations between our two nations." So that's some good news. All right, let's get to... Yeah, we took an early break. So let's get to some breaking news right now. Politico and Wall Street Journal reporting that a woman who dated Graham Plattner, U.S. Senate candidate, said he forced her to have sex with him nearly 5 years ago despite her repeated objections, and Plattner denies that. She's a 41-year-old Maine resident. Her name is out here, Jenny Rassicote. And she detailed the alleged incident to Politico in 3 interviews over the past 2 weeks. Politico also spoke with a man that Rassicote dated and confided in the years after the alleged incident, and they reviewed documents, including emails between Rassicote and her therapist and messages between Rassicote and an acquaintance whom she warned against getting involved with Plattner years before he ran for office. Now, of course, another woman accused him of manhandling her and throwing her in a room and keeping her in that room against her will, which I don't know is kidnapping, I thought was a felony, but that was fine. That's totally cool. Totally cool. We're fine with that. My Nazi tattoo, fine. You knew something was going to break somewhere along the line. That may be the last straw. She had an on and off relationship with Plattner for more than 2 years, before she claims that he entered her home in rural Maine uninvited one night in late 2021. He was deeply intoxicated and forced himself on her while she repeatedly told him to stop. She said she cut off contact with him after telling him the encounter was not consensual. She said, and this is Politico, and she gave them the interview, quote, I remember him grabbing my pelvis and being really forceful on me. I remember the specific moment where I thought to myself, like, this is no longer my choice. He denied the allegations. Rasicote previously described reckless and unsettling behavior by Plattner to the New York Times, but she said she didn't go public with the specific assault claim because she didn't want to be known as a rape victim. She said she later felt compelled to go public in her experience about her experience because the reaction to the Times story was dominated by controversy about another woman, Lindsay Fifield, who alleged that Plattner mistreated her and faced attacks because of her ties to the Republican Party. And she said my part of the story was just a read over, and the story was Lindsay and the accusations of her being politically motivated. So she said she was torn over coming forward. Now I think she's the one who came forward first. One of them came forward first, and the New York Times story was absolutely about the connections about this woman. So I guess Fifield came forward first, and everybody else was just totally swept under the rugs. She said, one of the reasons I didn't come forward sooner was the huge moral conflict that I had been supporting his politics, but not supporting him as a person. I just want the truth out there. I just want people to have a whole scope of who he is as a person. Now, I love that it says a Plattner, an oysterman. He made $5,000 oystering, and his only client is his mother's restaurant. I don't know how he's an oysterman. All of these people, have you noticed, they don't really have real jobs. All these communists don't really have real jobs. And they're all a little bit of a nepo baby. You know, he went to private school and all that other stuff. So we do have, he released a video. Plattner has released a video in response to this. Now, there has been rumblings that I've been seeing all afternoon that Plattner has canceled quite a few engagements, and there's nothing on his calendar right now for last week and this coming week. It's been cleared, so there are allegations and rumors and rumblings that he is going to drop out. Then Politico drops this. Now Plattner has since released a video with his side of the story. Let's listen to it.
I wanted to directly address the troubling, serious, and false allegations against me. Any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically false. Over the last 10 months, I have been deeply humbled by the faith Mainers have put in me. You have welcomed me into your homes, into your places of work, into your restaurants, into your houses of worship. You have shown that a different kind of politics, one that puts the interests of people over corporations, is not just possible, but is inevitable. This movement we have built, the largest volunteer base in the history of Maine politics, the hundreds of thousands of grassroots donors, and the supporters across the ideological spectrum, we were united in a love of Maine, a belief that our politics must change, and a focus on defeating Susan Collins. So, regardless of the inaccuracy of the reporting, but mindful of the political reality it will inflict, we are taking the time to reflect on the best path forward for the state that I love, the people that I love, the movement I belong to, and the goal of defeating Susan Collins. Those were the goals when we launched this campaign, and they remain my goals today. On June 9th, 154,058 Mainers, the most in primary history, voted to reject a broken politics beholden to Washington and the donor class. They voted for hope, for change, to take back our economy, to take back our power, and to take back our Senate seat. Throughout it all, you never turned your back on me, and I will not turn my back on you now. Every one of you deserves to see that vision come to fruition and see Susan Collins defeated, and we will use every tool at our disposal to do so. As Maine goes, so goes the nation. As always, thank you.
Oh, he's just so pathetic and just so sweet and humble looking, isn't he? Here's the thing. Would you like to go down a rabbit hole with me? Okay, let's go. Follow me if you will. He can be replaced on the ballot if he quits by July 13th. I don't know. Democrats are getting really good with taking out flawed candidates that they suddenly realize may not win the election. And it's by any means necessary. They have to take the House and Senate, remember? So they did it to Joe Biden. They did it to Eric Swalwell. They're probably going to do it again. And is that what's happening here? Like suddenly there is, this story was allowed to come out? Because we're supposed to believe that they didn't know about the Nazi tattoo. I mean, and that was not a bridge too far for them. The Nazi tattoo was not a bridge too far for them. But I was going through a rough time. Oh, well, I talked to my therapist about it. I had it removed. They're always so woe is me. They're always such pathetic little characters when they get caught. And then they humbly apologize, but they give no grace to someone else. If a Republican shows up with a nut, remember they went after Pete Hegseth for the Deus Vult tattoo that he has. That's a Nazi symbol. It's a Nazi tattoo. Even when proven wrong, didn't matter. He's a Nazi. And they give no grace to anyone on the right at all. You know, Donald Trump did something in 1974, and so he's unfit to be president. Because once a racist, always a racist. But for them, it's okay. Joe Biden can say horrific racist things, and it's totally fine. Well, you know, he didn't mean it. He didn't know what he was saying. Oh, he apologized for it. Oh, he's based, you know, he know. They come up with every excuse in the book. I'm sorry. I am not surprised. If you want to jump in on this, 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210. Are you surprised? I'm not. This was inevitable. And I do happen to think that the Democrat Party's hand is in this. Because this story would not come out if they didn't want it to come out. And it kind of got buried. The New York Times did a really good job of burying the stories and any woman coming forward, because when the one woman did come forward, it wasn't assault, it wasn't sexual assault. It was just like he mistreated her, you know, and locked her in a room, you know, manhandled her a little bit. It wasn't anything bad. And, you know, she fell asleep. I actually had someone on TV. I would talk about this, and I said, you know, I don't know. That's a felony, isn't it? Kidnapping. I think that's a felony. I think that's a big thing. And so that doesn't count. He goes, oh, she was so traumatized. She fell asleep when she was in there. She even said she fell asleep. I'm like, well, yeah, kidnapping hostages do tend to eat, fall asleep, use the bathroom. You know, there's basic human functions that you do. But he wouldn't let her out. That's the bottom line. That should have been, there are so many steps along the way where it should have been the last straw. And the fact that it wasn't the last straw is a problem. What did Matt say here? Worth noting, last month in her op-ed in the Washington Post, Genevieve McDonald, who had been Plattner's political director prior to resigning, right, I remember her, said that if Plattner won the nomination but later withdraws, Maine Democrats could hold a convention and choose a different nominee. Yeah, he obviously ended up winning. They could hold a convention and choose a different nominee. Democrats are really good at this. They have no problem, and their base has no problem with the people at the top switching out candidates if they don't think they can be elected. The people elected resoundingly voted for Joe Biden, right? He was the nominee. Kamala Harris did not get one vote for president. Not one. Didn't matter. Biden out, Harris in, although they didn't want Harris. They wanted Mark Kelly. They did not want Harris. Obama and Nancy Pelosi and I guess Susan Rice, Valerie Jarrett, who else was ever involved in that little whoop-de-doo, that little switcheroo. They wanted to have a mini primary and I guess make it look like the people were electing a candidate. But they have no problem dumping out candidates and replacing them with somebody else. So this is not a surprise, especially he has not even a week. He has a week and a day that he can stay on. 1 week from today. So this is planned, in my humble opinion. You could disagree with me. That's fine. I'm okay with that. Just can't yell. We have to be very adult and nice to each other, okay? 855-839-1210, or you can tag me in a post on X. I have a lot of notifications on X right now. But 1 week from today, if he quits in 1 week, he can be replaced. on the ballot. So, the Democrats always talk about it's a threat to democracy. It's a literal threat to democracy. And it turns out that they're the threat to democracy. They always are what they accuse you of doing, right? They always are what they accuse you of being. And people haven't caught on yet. And what kills me is that the base hasn't caught on yet. Like, have you not caught on to the fact that you elect someone, you vote for someone, and they swoop in and nullify your vote? And so they'll take him out and they'll put someone in who they think is a much easier sell. And so that they can win the seat because Susan Collins is in the lead. And they can't have that. And Republicans wind up having to run against two different candidates. Donald Trump had a whole campaign against Kamala Harris and then had to redo it and go after, now he had to go after Kamala Harris, right? At first he had a whole thing against a whole campaign on how to run against Joe Biden, and then he had to switch it up to Kamala Harris. So it's weird that they always accuse the right of subverting democracy. It's literally a threat to democracy. They say that all the time. Literally a threat to democracy. And it's really them who are the threat. They are the threat. They're the ones who come in and throw out the duly elected, the people's choice. They throw out because they realize they can't win and they're in it for the power. But you know what? Until people hold them accountable, hold the national accountable, and maybe that's what's happening with the rise on the left. They don't like the status quo. The people on the rise on the left, the communists, don't like the status quo. They're throwing them all out. They were chanting Hakeem Jeffries, you're next, right? So they want to get them all out. But if they think that getting those people out because of them subverting their vote because they don't like what's going on and they go communist, I got news for you. You're not going to have a choice at all. There's going to be zero choice. But this would be, I think this is the third one. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the fourth? The third or the fourth? Joe Biden and Eric Swalwell. Is there another one in there? I thought Gravalia was going to be going. Did he go? I got to look that up. I don't know if Gravalia went. But this will be the third or fourth one. 855-839-1210 is the number. I also, all right, so the other thing about, I want to go back to China a little bit because we were talking about that. I will take your calls on this if you want to. I'll take your calls on anything we're talking about. So we're talking about China and Japan and the Asian countries, and I had a little teaser about Elaine Chao. She is the former U.S. Transportation Secretary. She's also Harry Reid's wife. Now, we had heard rumors that Harry Reid, is another thing, that Harry Reid had some kind of medical emergency at his house. We know 911 was called. We know it was dispatched. We know something happened. Never really knew what. And haven't heard hide nor hail from Harry Reid, hide nor tail. But this is the problem. See, this is another thing. Harry Reid, we haven't seen him in how long? Is he voting? You elect him to represent you, but he's too elderly and too infirm to do it. So he just doesn't vote, and we allow that for some insane reason I don't understand. Oh, did I say Reid? McConnell. I'm sorry. Mitch McConnell's wife, not Harry Reid's wife. I'm so sorry. Mitch McConnell's wife. I was on a roll. Sorry. When the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor, it's the same thing. I'm on a roll. Let me go. But if Mitch McConnell can't vote, why? Why is he still in Congress? Why haven't we replaced him? Why aren't his constituents angry that he's not voting? So, just 3 days after Mitch McConnell, her husband, is rushed to the hospital following what was apparently a heart attack that required CPR, girlfriend's on a plane beating feet over to China. Now, what's that about? I don't know. I would think that you'd want to be with your husband or your loved one if they 3 days earlier, if it's true he had a heart attack, and if it's true he had to have CPR, which I've seen several places, but nobody knows for sure, so we're going to be good, all right? And even if he didn't, if they had to come and take him out and he's still in the hospital, who goes to China? So she met with Chinese Vice President Han Zhen, so the VP on June 17th. And there are images published by Chinese outlets showing the two of them sitting there talking. So there was a photo op. I mean, so what did she just say? Sorry, I have I got a meeting. I can't get out of it. Yeah, you can. For something like this, you can get out of it. Even if he was in a coma and didn't know you were there, you don't go to China for 3 days. You just like if you had tickets to the Bahamas, you don't go to the Bahamas. You stay put, I would think. In the meeting with Chow, the Chinese VP called for China and the United States to take more steps to improve ties, saying that both sides should work together to move the relationship forward. The two countries should follow through on the consensus reached by their leaders. And that's all we know. I don't know. That's all we got out of that meeting. That doesn't seem like an important meeting. We should all get along better. That seems funky to me. Something doesn't smell right. My tinfoil hat is polished and I'm putting it on. Because I don't buy it. I don't buy that that's all that meeting was about, that she had to go there 3 days after her husband is taken out of the house in an ambulance and he's still in the hospital. And we don't know. We have no health update whatsoever. There's a whole lot to unpack here. A lot. Now, aides have acknowledged that McConnell remains hospitalized. So he's still in the hospital. He's been in the hospital since June 17th. Something's going on. Because they shove you out all the time now. Everything's outpatient. You know, it's like drive-through births. You need a knee replacement. You're out the same day. Like everything is like local anesthesia, twilight, and out the door you go. But he's been in there since June 17th. The aides have not publicly addressed the extent of his condition or explained how his Senate business is being managed during his absence. Yes. Is he doing his job or are we just paying him? His spokesperson said in a statement on June 14th, which was 3 days before. Oh, excuse me. No, when he was insulted. I'm sorry. He's been in there since June 14th. The meeting in China was June 17th. So Senator McConnell was admitted to the hospital this morning. He's receiving excellent care. That was June 14th. So it's been almost a month. And that's all we know. That's not right. And her going over there so soon, that's not right either, right? Like something's not going up, right? Something's not. It's a lot going on. DC politics, the whole thing is some crazy business. So anyway, so that's that. Yeah, man, we've got that, and we've got McConnell. I mean, we've got McConnell, and then we've got what's going on with Plattner back to back. It's exhausting. All right, quick break, and then we're back for more, and then we'll be speaking with Guy Shiraki. Will be joining us somewhere along the line here to talk about continuing America's story into the future and how we do that. I'm Mary Walter. You're listening to 1210 WPHT.
A plane has crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center.
The events of September 11th changed our nation forever. As we approach the 25th anniversary, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT is looking to hear directly from those who experienced that day firsthand. Were you a first responder who answered the call on September 11th? Were you in New York City, Washington, or near Shanksville? Share your story as part of our special 25th anniversary broadcast, 9/11 Through the Eyes of, a collection of personal memories, reflections, and experiences from those whose lives were forever changed. If you have a first-hand account and would like to be considered for an interview, visit 1210WPHT.com. Let's remember, honor, and preserve them for future generations. Go to 1210WPHT.com.
Hey, John, why so glum? I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this. Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career. Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
With the high price of new and used cars today, many drivers are choosing to keep their vehicles a lot longer. But with the average car now over 12 years old, most manufacturers' warranties have expired. I'm Danica Patrick. If your car is out of warranty, a single trip to the mechanic could cost you thousands. That's why smart drivers choose Endurance. If your vehicle is less than 20 years old, no matter the mileage, Endurance could have your car covered for the drivetrain, electrical, AC, transmission, and more. And Endurance is with you every step of the way, from filing a claim to paying the mechanic of your choice directly. And your rate won't go up no matter how many claims you file. Call Endurance now and choose the plan that fits your budget. Act now and get 1 year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value free.
For your fast free quote, call 800-291-0342. 800-291-0342. 800-291-0342.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at EnduranceWarranty.com.
There's a reason that potato chips don't come in a clear bag.
There's only 8 chips in this bag.
That's why. It's only about 2/3 full. The rest is air. It's a lot like opening up your 401k at retirement. You get about 2/3 of it, and the rest goes to Uncle Sam. Jim Cipriotti at the Retire Ready Financial Group can help. His tax mapping process can help forecast what your tax bill will be in the future, and that way you can build a strategy now to potentially decrease your tax bill in retirement. In other words, more for you and less for Uncle Sam. Call today for your complimentary retirement tax mapping report, 610-894-7415. That's 610-894-7415, or find them online at retirereadyfg.com. And get Uncle Sam's greedy hands out of your retirement.
Hey, you've had enough.
With a complimentary tax mapping report from Jim Cipriotti. Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC, NPN number 2083768.
A riddle brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common? Progressive protects them both. It was an easy riddle. Learn more at progressive.com.
Now back to the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
This is Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
And welcome back. How are you? That's a one way to start things off with someone screaming at you like that. Before we get to the top of the hour and then we talk to Guy on the other side, I did want to bring this up because this is something I think so many people we're just so angry about, and at least I am anyway. And I can't speak for everyone, but I think I'm very frustrated and kind of just throw my hands up in the air with the whole thing. I'm talking about the Save America Act. It just seems so simple to me. The people want it, but John Thune doesn't. So it just goes nowhere. John Thune's role in life is to be a roadblock, and he does it very well. So on Fox News Sunday, Mike Johnson was on, and he was on with, I want to say, Shannon Bream. And he was talking about this with her. And she asked him, about getting this passed. They've tried 3 times. 3 times it's passed the House. Can't get it past the Senate. And they had a problem with the Senate parliamentarian when they tried to do it through reconciliation, because reconciliation is something that we all hate, where they just tag a bunch of stupid stuff on the end of a spending bill and it all gets passed. Even though it may have nothing to do with that spending bill, still it gets passed unless it's this. And then the Senate parliamentarian says, no, you can't do it because that has nothing to do with the spending bill. So you can't just tag that on there. So Mike Johnson has said several times that he has a way to get this passed through reconciliation. So here he is with Shannon Bream. This is cut to talking about the SAVE Act and getting it passed.
The big urgency is to get Save America passed. The president has that as a top priority, and so do I. We passed it 3 times in the House. We're going to try one more time on a budget reconciliation bill, and I think that will be the way to get it through the Senate and finally to the president's desk. So that's forthcoming.
All right, so We know it's urgent. Yes, it is urgent. And the president has made it quite clear that it's urgent. And John Thune doesn't care. Because they're going to take like the whole month of August off because apparently there's no air conditioning in the Capitol. I don't understand why they take the whole month of August off or 3 weeks of August off. It used to be because it was hot. And Washington, D.C. is hot and humid and disgusting in the summer. You know, Philadelphia is the same way on the East Coast. It's a swamp, and so it's hot and humid. But they have air conditioning now. The rest of us go to work in August. How come they don't? Especially when there's things like this that need to get done. It's just egregious and it's insulting and should not be. I don't think it should be. All right, let's go to cut 3 here. And he added on about some of the changes they may have to make. It may not be the full Save America Act that President Trump wants passed, but we may get some of it. Here's some details.
I think our version is the main sort of the backbone of that.
The House version.
Yes, he would like to add the prohibition of mail-in balloting, except for exceptions like if somebody's deployed overseas or they're ill or can't get to the polling place. But he understands that one is a bigger reach. If we can get proof of citizenship and photo ID to vote, that eliminates so much of the problem, all the fraud and everything that everybody's concerned about in our elections, particularly, frankly, in these blue states. Look at California. They're still counting ballots from an election that happened a month ago. It's crazy, and everybody understands that.
Did you know they were still counting ballots? Like, I lost interest in California once they declared it. I'm like, okay. They're still counting ballots in California a month later? There are entire countries that have more people in them than California that manages to count their ballots in a day. But here's I think the president is right. This mail-in ballot thing, up until COVID, they used COVID as the vehicle to just flood the zone with ballots, right? Under the guise of COVID. Oh, people can't get out and vote, and it's a hardship to have to request a ballot. And it said, okay, it's going to be temporary, but none of this stuff is ever temporary. Just remember, 14 days to slow the spread of COVID. You only have to be shut down for 14 days. I want to put that on a sign. 14 days to stop the spread. I want to put that on a sign because that just will remind you of every government lie. Nothing in the government is temporary. There is no entitlement. There's no program that is temporary. They all go on forever and ever and ever and ever because there's one person somewhere who's going to be harmed if they don't have a ballot in their mailbox every single time and they can't, for whatever reason, apply for it. But so Trump wants to go back to the old absentee ballots. That's what he wants to go back to, the old absentee ballots, not this mass mailing of ballots that we have since COVID. So I'm with the president on that, but I will agree that you got to take something, and that's what the Democrats do really, really well. They'll take half a loaf of bread because they know that it's better than going hungry. So they'll take half a loaf. Whereas Republicans tend to if I don't get everything I want, then I'm not passing that bill. Okay. Well, sometimes you don't get everything you want. But if they can get half of what they want, okay. And we come back for the other half, we get another bite at the apple, down the road. If we save the House and the Senate and we keep it and we get a bigger margin, well, then maybe you can get the whole thing. You can get the whole enchilada. So take what you can get now to help save the elections in the midterm, because that's going to be a disaster, and go from there. And just go from there. Anyway, just some fun news for you before we beat feet here. A man in Florida just won the key lime pie eating championship, which they apparently do the 4th of July every year. It's famous. Never heard of it. And he had a winning strategy. He's 62 years old. He claimed victory finally. This is the 3rd time he has competed, or else he's a 3-time loser. He's competed twice, lost twice, 24-25. So he developed a strategy. It took him 59.6 seconds to eat a whipped cream topped 9-inch key lime pie without using his hands. The goggles and dive masks were allowed. He said he refined his approach, and the key is you got to get rid of the whipped cream. That's the hardest thing to get through. So he took his shirt off and he just dove into it and then pulled the whipped cream up on his chest because I guess it stuck to the hair. And then he flipped it over to eat from the crust because the crust is the hardest part and it gets really dry. So he flipped it over, and so he finally won. And he said he referred to himself as the first loser, and after he then the second loser, for second time he lost. And he said he just didn't want to go home and tell his wife that he lost again. So he practiced and he won. If at first you don't succeed, so good for him. That's disgusting, though. More coming up on 1210 WPHT.
Prioritize yourself and make your dream of an attractive, healthy smile a reality at PI Dental Center. The professionals at PI Dental have been transforming patients' smiles for over 38 years. Board-certified specialists, Dr. Glenn Wolfinger and Dr. Robert Slough, perform complex dental makeovers with their Teeth in a Day protocol, where dental implants are placed and restored with fixed teeth in just one day. It's time to invest in yourself. For a smile that's monumental, trust PI Dental. Visit pidentalcenter.com.
No! USA is up 2-0. That is the most dangerous lead in soccer.
Relax, Mike.
See that, Dan? My left eye is twitching. That's my warning eye. It'll be 2-2 by stoppage time. It's never wrong.
With early payout from Bet365, I got paid the second they went up 2 goals. So to me, it's now the safest lead.
Early payout from Bet365, huh? Now my right eye is twitching, Dan.
Bet365. Winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Pennsylvania. T's and C's apply. In-app only.
Bring on the fun and bring home a new Honda with a great deal on your favorite Honda vehicles. And finally take that road trip you've been dreaming of. Now's the time to check out the Honda Civic and HR-V from Honda, the 2026 KBB.com best value brand. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get a 3.49% APR on a 2026 HR-V.
Visit Piazza Hyundai of Philadelphia, Langhorne, Pottstown, Reading, or Springfield today.
See dealer for financing details. Based on 2026 Consumer Choice Awards from Kelley Blue Book. Visit KBB.com for more information.
Looking for an auto repair shop you can actually trust? McCullough's Auto Repair has been serving Delco since 1999. They believe honesty, fairness, and friendly service still matter. Chuck and Ralph run the place. No matter your car's issue, they'll explain it in plain English and help you decide what really needs to be done now and what can wait. Chuck's motto is, I'll never steer you wrong. Call McCullough's at 610-446-1230 and ask for Chuck or Ralph, or visit McCulloughsAutorepair.com.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
A woman who dated Graham Plattner on and off for more than 2 years. She tells Politico in late 2021, Plattner entered her home while drunk and forced himself on her. While the Democrat challenging incumbent Senator Susan Collins says in a video message that the allegation is false.
Regardless of the inaccuracy of the reporting, but mindful of the political reality it will inflict, we are taking the time to reflect on the best path forward.
Under state law in Maine, Plattner has a week to decide whether to withdraw from the race in time for the party to put someone else's name on the November ballot. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
President Trump heads to a NATO summit in Turkey later today, where Ukraine President Zelensky is expected to ask alliance members for more interceptor missiles. Canada says it has selected Germany's ThyssenKrupp marine systems to build 12 submarines to boost defense spending to meet NATO targets. An oil glut could lower gasoline prices. The U.S. has been removing mines from the southern route of the Strait of Hormuz, with more tankers passing through, and that is expected to lower oil prices, gasoline prices, and diminish any leverage Iran has at talks with the U.S. That from ABC News contributor and former State Department official Steve Gagnier.
Frankly, President Trump can let this go on forever because people don't want to think about the nuclear problem. They're going to say, I don't want my total at the gas pump to be so high.
Saying FIFA's judicial bodies are independent and autonomous, the head of soccer's governing body in a statement essentially denying he had any influence over the decision to reverse a red card suspension so the top U.S. scorer can play in tonight's game against Belgium. President Trump phoned the head of soccer's governing body about it.
All I did was ask for a review. I didn't say you have to do this.
You're listening to ABC News.
Of all the wireless companies in America, only one has 5 stars in every category from Consumer Reports, and that company is Pure Talk. Coverage, support, value, data. 5 stars across the board. Plus, no service contracts and no cancellation fees. Just phenomenal U.S. customer service on a crazy fast 5G network. Dial pound 250, say micro, and switch to a 5-star American wireless company that won't let you down. Pure Talk.
Ever wonder why you have insurance for your car or home, but not your digital life? Meet Webroot Total Protection, your digital bodyguard that includes antivirus, identity protection, VPN, cloud backup, and more. With plans for individuals and families, Webroot takes the guessing game out of cybersecurity so you can get back to living your best life online. Go to webroot.com/protect and get 60% off today. That's webroot.com/protect to get 60% off today. Live a better digital life with Webroot, because peace of mind shouldn't be optional.
A week-long preliminary hearing for the man accused of killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk is underway in Provo, Utah. Prosecutors are seeking to convince a state judge that they have enough evidence against 23-year-old Tyler Robinson to proceed to trial. Judge Tony Graff is considering several things when deciding whether graphic videos of the shooting and other evidence should be shown in court. There's an island-wide blackout across Cuba. Fuel reserves dwindling. The electric grid is crumbling under what's essentially a U.S.-led embargo. After a very hot July 4th in many areas, the heat isn't quitting everywhere, says ABC News forecaster Samara Theodore.
Things are really hot in the southeast. Some areas not quite as bad as we saw over the holiday weekend, but still pretty bad. 100 degrees is what it feels like in Tuscaloosa. But I'll leave you with some good news for those in the northeast. Things are really cooling down. UNDC on Wednesday will be around 83 degrees.
Storms the past days are leading to flood watches from Virginia and North Carolina to Pittsburgh, Hartford, and New York City. A rare third European heat wave has wildfires spreading, notably in Spain and southern France. In Paris, ABC's Tom Soufi Burridge.
There have been red alerts issued in 7 southern French regions, and temperatures in the coming days are only expected to rise further here in France and in other parts of Europe.
A rebound for artificial intelligence stocks sent indexes higher on Wall Street, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average reached another record high. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
Of all the wireless companies in America, only one has 5 stars in every category from Consumer Reports, and that company is Pure Talk. Coverage, support, value, data. 5 stars across the board. Plus, no service contracts and no cancellation fees. Just phenomenal U.S. customer service on a crazy fast 5G network. Dial pound 250, say micro, and switch to a 5-star American wireless company that won't let you down. Pure Talk.
WPHT HD WOGL HD3 Philadelphia from the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. Free speech lives here. Lives here. The WPHT Afternoon Show.
Hey, welcome back. Wow, we're in the last hour already. Can't believe it. It's going fast. Coming up, 6:15, I will be on Newsmax 2 and 2. Just go to, it's their streaming channel, so if you go to YouTube, type in Newsmax 2, I will be there with Ed Henry. So I'm doing that. So if you're watching on video, like I'm slowly but surely putting it all together. The next big step is the hair, and then I could go on. And tomorrow morning at 6:40, bright and early, I will be on Wake Up America Early on Newsmax, on your, however you get it, Newsmax, not the streaming channel, N1, the regular Newsmax channel. And then in the 5 o'clock hour, I'll be on Newsmax 2 on the streaming channel again. You just go again to YouTube, type in Newsmax, the number 2, and it'll take you right there. All right, without further ado, I think you know who this guy is. I think you've heard him a time or two. Guy Shiraki, Senior Fellow at the Commonwealth Foundation. He's a writer for Broad and Liberty and Real Clear PA, and a former Republican nominee for Congress. How he has time to do all this is pretty much a mystery to me. You can find him on X on a handle that he has finally settled on, which is Phila Freedom Guy. So it's PHILA Freedom a Guy. So Guy, welcome. Thanks for joining me.
I'm glad you have 5 minutes to sit down. I'm impressed. Talk about being busy. That's impressive.
Oh, today was a 2-2 radio show, 2 TV hit, and then tomorrow is like more of the same. Like it's. But I'm not complaining. I'm very blessed, so I'm super happy. So no complaints. So, but yeah, you don't have time either.
I understand the feeling.
No,
Yeah,
I was
going to
say.
Good. I mean, look. I joke. During the day we have a nation to save, and at night I have the careers of a bunch of 12-year-old girls' softball careers in my hands. So, I don't know what's more dangerous: the fate of ruining their softball careers, or not doing what I can to save the nation. Try my little part in both.
I will. I'm going to say here, and no shade to softball at all. Like no shade. But after college, I mean, really, what are you doing? Professional softball? It's not happening, right?
Yes, but
Okay.
but it
So the
is
nation
about it's about their
seems-
physical. It's about their physical, mental health, and teamwork, and winning and losing, and
I
and
love
some
that
of them
parents.
are, some of them are athletes.
Well, I just love that parents are so concerned about their children's mental health. My parents didn't give two flying Fs about our mental health at all. They were just like, "Shut up," you know what I mean? Like, no, I'm kidding though. I get it. I understand. It's your kids. I get it.
Yeah, mental health meant mental health meant don't hit your brother in the head. That was it. It's not good. Don't sit too close to the television. You'll go blind. Yes, I know. Yes. Well,
And do
anyway.
you know they have a woman who's now playing in the Savannah Bananas League?
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't
there's a
know
woman
that.
who's playing for one of the teams. She's really good. So
I don't doubt it. I time and time again, they have sometimes these exhibitions where a professional, or a serious softball pitcher, Montana Fouts or someone like that, will have a baseball player come in, and 9 times out of 10, the softball pitcher strikes out the baseball player because the distance and the speed is a lot to calculate. It's a lot throwing the ball from 43 feet. When they throw it at 70 miles an hour, that's like a 98 mile an hour fastball coming in at your ears. So as much as we're tough on the girls, especially at my age, they're still at 40 feet. They're standing 40 feet away. That doesn't give you a lot of time to process whether the pitch is good or not. So,
And honestly, I would
Anyway.
I think in all seriousness, and then I'll let you go on this one. But in all seriousness, I think that if that softball, because we like baseball in this country, why not have some kind of professional softball league? And I think of what was it? There's no crying in baseball. I have a league of their own, right?
A league of their own.
A league of their own. Right, it was popular, and women were playing. They were playing back then when all the men were off to war, and people came to the games because they wanted to see it, right? So I think that there's something. Maybe your girls could be the first ones.
I'm up for it. Usually what happens is I've been doing it 27 years. This is like my 6th class, if you will. And usually somewhere in high school, they sort of break up and I start fresh with another group of players. So maybe this will be the group that will stay with them if they'll have me around till they're professionals. We'll see.
There you go. That would be very cool. I like that. So good for you. You're a good dad. Let's go to something that you wrote though about America as a country and saving the country. You talked about that, and obviously that's something that is super important. Wasn't it Ben Franklin? It's a republic if you can keep it.
If you
Right?
can, yeah.
And
right.
Are we?
Right. We used to. The reality was, if you and I were doing this interview even 20 years ago, we would have said, elections are really important. We got to elect good men and women and hold them to their promises. And then we would have gone about our business. Because the big fight in the economy would be whether the top tax rate should be 40% or 30%. And we would debate things like when someone commits a heinous crime, should they get the death penalty or life without parole? Or, we discuss things about, foreign policy from the standpoint of we discuss them here but would never say them out loud and never say them abroad. All of those rules have changed. I mean, we're not debating tax rates or debating capitalism versus socialism. We're not debating how to secure the border. We're debating whether to secure the border at all. We're debating, whether the government ought to be able to, second guess parents, whether the government can mandate our speech. So it's a lot more serious now, and it has become, 24/7. I was wrapping up a TV interview for one of the local stations, and we went through one of the times of the show, and at the end, the reporter, the moderator said to me, "But be honest, in 2028, when this is all over, won't it be good just to go back the way things were?" And I paused and looked, and I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Well, when he's gone, when he's gone..."
She can't say his name, right? She can't say his name.
I said, "What do you mean when he's gone?" I said, "You clearly don't listen when I'm on the show or read anything I write," and I laughed. But I said, "He's the response. He's the pushback on behalf of us that want to preserve the nation and hand it to our kids. He's the pushback to open borders. He's the pushback to there are 153 genders. He's the pushback to defund the police. He's the pushback to climate change madness. He's the pushback to, social promotions in schools. He's the pushback to the government knows more about kids than we do." I said, "Hey, if you guys promise to go back to debating tax rates and whether it's death penalty or life without the possibility of parole," I said, "I'd be more than happy to put my keyboard down. I'd be more than happy to stand down. I'd be more than happy to not be talking about politics all the time." And so we do have a republic to try and pass on, and now more than ever, because the stakes are truly important, as you talked about, what we have to do to inch ahead, what we need for conservatives to maintain control of the House and the Senate. And I'm as frustrated as you are. I'm as frustrated as your listeners are. I'm as frustrated as your followers are on social media. And I wish sometimes our gang could do more. But I know what they're not doing. I know what they're stopping from happening. I know the insanity of creating a state in D.C. and Puerto Rico, of packing the Supreme Court, of taking away our First Amendment rights, of mandating all sorts of things, of bringing DE&I and CRT back in our schools. So as much as I will never try to defend John Thune and the rest of those characters who seem to be dragging their feet, they are preventing really horrible things from being ingrained in our courts and the law. So there is a republic to save, and it's no longer tongue-in-cheek. It's genuine.
Absolutely. I just don't think that just being reactive is going to save it. Just being on the defense all the time is going to save it. Sometimes you have to move forward, and you have to actually do something. John Thune, he's just not on my good. He's on my naughty list.
No, Mary, I agree 110%. I agree 110%. Just as you and I and others on the station and all of us sort of in a unified cause, I say to my friends, I'm not sugarcoating it. I'm not telling you they've done lots of marvelous things. I think the big, beautiful bill is good. I think the Supreme Court nominees, on balance, have been more good than bad, far from perfect. But they are stopping, the insanity. So, no, I'm not at all satisfied. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying, hey, good job. I'm just saying that a Chuck Schumer-led Senate is a very dangerous thing. A Bernie Sanders-chaired Human Services Committee, a Chuck Schumer-led Senate, and Elizabeth Warren-led Judiciary Committee are absolutely frightening. So we have our work to do, and yes, then we have our work to do to make sure these knuckleheads actually do some of the positive stuff they can do on the border, on the economy, on energy, on crime, on education. We sure should be playing offense. We should make sure the border is absolutely secure. We should empower parents and let them find good schools. We should support our law enforcement. We should make sure that our NATO allies pay their fair share and that we're not putting kids from Downingtown on the border and then funding them with everybody else in Pennsylvania with the weapons here, and then have the Germans or the Europeans as a whole tell us what to do. There's a lot of work to do, and a lot I wish that they would unify around, but it starts with stopping the other side. So look, the stakes are really high, and it's not just rhetoric, and it's not about fundraising, and it's not about clicks. The other side's very serious, and so we have our job to do, not only to stop them, but to do the positive things that are necessary. I agree with you.
Yeah. So I don't know if you saw the video and still pictures, and I'm still not sure it's legit, but I saw it on X and I saw a bunch of people posting it, but that doesn't mean that it's real or that it was recent. And, LA outlawed fireworks. They canceled the fireworks. We're not having the fireworks. And then I don't know if you saw the picture of like all these fireworks that are going off in all these neighborhoods all over LA. And I saw some people who were interviewed for dropping of the ball in Times Square because Mamdani said, no, it's not for public. It's not a public event. The public can't attend it. And of course, so Times Square is packed, of course, right? And they were interviewing them and like, you can't tell us what to do. We can't tell us. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, but yet you either didn't vote or you voted for Mamdani. So part of me says there seems to be this undercurrent of, and I've been saying it a lot, there's more of us than there are of them. And we're allowing them to control the narrative. And to me, it's all coming together with the World Cup being here. And we needed outsiders to come into this country to tell us how great we are. Because we've heard nothing from the inside, but we're racist, we're horrible people, we're oppressors, we're this, we're that, we're everything else. That's all we hear all the time. And then all of a sudden, these people come from all over the world, and they're like, "This place is great," and we actually felt good about ourselves. And then you have the 250th, which made liberals cry, which made me feel good. And to me, there's almost like an undercurrent of we can breathe again. Because we're kind of like throwing all of that crap off. Like people have had it with men and women's locker rooms. People have had enough. People have had enough of the defund the police and the crime. And people are starting to get fed up. Do you feel that, or am I totally wrong? Am I hallucinating? Should I go back and start the cocaine again? What?
Yeah. Well, no, I think you're onto something. I think we can all feel it. I mean, look, politics is usually a lagging indicator. I mean, it's one of the things I've learned over the years of being involved. There are rare politicians that lead people where they don't want to go or help or do something to not. Politics is a lagging indicator. And I think the politicians, just like the marketing, right? 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, they were selling cars, and they sold cars because they told you how green they were and wonderful, and no animals or children were harmed in the making of this car. And now we're back to trucks and the American flag. Right. Why? Because Wall Street and because Madison Avenue said, "Oh crap, we love America again. Get the flags out there. Get the flags out there." But in terms of really serious stuff, I agree with you. I think that just like with COVID, just like with the CRT madness, just like with telling 10-year-olds, the white kids, you stand over there, the black kids, you stand over there, and think, geez, I don't know, Chinese kids, I don't know where you stand because I'm not sure whether you're victims or oppressors. I think we all just said enough, and I think you're seeing it again with some of the pushback, whether it's about fireworks or whether it's about language or whether it's about flags. I mean, remember the insanity of the last few years. We were told that flying the American flag was not only some sort of jingoism, but it was somehow racist. We know what you mean. We know what it's like to drive through a small town and see flags. We know the subliminal message you're sending. Yeah, that we love our country and we're proud to live here. I was at a gathering, and as I started to do recently, I wear an American flag on my lapel from time to time, and everybody else had their different. It was June, so everybody had different. For this, that, and the other. They had stickers and magnets and pins, which again is fine. Rock on. I mean, it's America. Wear what you want. And one of the host of the event looked around and said, "Well, you've got your pride. You've got this." And Guy, I said, "Well, I'm old school. When I grew up, the American flag represented all of us in the room. That was the idea, right? That was all of us." So, Mary, I think to your point, I think there is sort of a pushback, but it's not just a pushback. It's a sense of pride that we, grew up and we thought we all had for this country. Being proud of America never meant we were perfect. Being proud of America didn't mean that we didn't have elected officials that were wrong. It didn't mean that some people were bad. It didn't mean we didn't have slavery. It didn't mean any of that. It meant this was a great nation, and we're blessed to be here. We're blessed to have this opportunity, and with that opportunity, we have a responsibility to pass it on to our kids. So I think you're right. There is this reawakening. Look, it reminds me of the Reagan era. Jimmy Carter, God rest his soul, but Jimmy Carter told us our best days were behind us. It was time to, lower the thermostats in the winter, raise them in the summer, and get used to living with less and get And Barack Obama told us to get ready to have a lower, smaller role in the world and to genuflect and bow when we met kings from other countries. And just like Reagan, who said it's time to be proud again, President Trump in his own way, look, President Trump, whether he's been a Democrat or a Republican, was a guest on Phil Donahue, Oprah Winfrey, Larry King, or today as President of the United States. He has been consistent his entire life. This is a great, blessed nation that is truly the land of opportunity, and we should celebrate it, honor it, and everybody should dig in and be part of it and take advantage in a good way, take advantage of the opportunity given to us. So I think you're onto it. I think people are feeling that, and you're right, as we spoke last time. In many ways, it is the Germans and the French and the folks from, the Ivory Coast and the folks from Australia and the folks from Ecuador coming here and saying, wow, do you know how lucky you are? Wow, do you know how wonderful it is? And by the way, people gave us ranch dressing and directions and car rides home when we got lost. You're not all big. Wow, I have brown skin and you drove me home when I was lost. This is so different than what CNN told me. And they said, yes. So it is. There is a reawakening, and I'm glad about it, which, again, doesn't dismiss any of the flaws. But this is a wonderful nation, and we have a duty to pass it on to their kids. And, to come back full circle, it's one of the reasons I coach. We have a duty to pass it on. I have a duty not only to teach them about sliding and bunting, but I have a duty to pass on the wonders of America to the 12-year-old kids that I coach.
Yeah, I love it. Make sure you show them Bad News Bears, the original. To really put things in perspective for them. I would be banned. I would be in time out. I would be in time out if I did that. Go out on a high.
I used to, as you noticed, so I adjusted my Twitter handle for the 250 to freedom. But back in the day, my picture on social media was the Tom Hanks as the coach. In A League of Their Own. And what was happening is then I would show up and do TV, or I would show up at events in studio or what have you, and people would say, you don't look anything like your picture. And I said, that's because it's Tom Hanks in a movie. I coach girls softball. So my marketing tip was get rid of the Tom Hanks picture and put my own back. It was here. I thought it was part of pop culture that people understood.
Right.
Black and white photo of the man with the unshaven beard and the cap was Tom Hanks. But
that's hilarious.
You live and learn.
That's absolutely hilarious. I quickly just want to go to one thing here. It ties in with what we're talking about, so I kind of wanted to just jump into this. It's cut 17 there, Sean. It's Sean's. I think it is. Cut 17. If we could just play. This is Caroline Levitt talking about her generation and this whole tilt to the left.
Hate to say it, Gen Z and those younger than me have been raised with just silver spoons in their mouths, just getting everything handed to them. That's not the values this country was built on. It was built on meritocracy and hard work, pulling up your sleeves, pulling yourself up from your bootstraps, and achieving the American dream. And we need to protect it with all we got.
Is it laziness?
A little bit.
Is it because the professor said the country's corrupt, it's evil, and we just need to shake them down and hand money out?
It's laziness, and it's the liberal indoctrination. You bring up a great point about our education system. However, I will say a silver lining, so many parents that I talk to across the country are homeschooling, are turning to private education, are turning towards Christian schools across the country because they don't want their children being taught these communist and liberal ideas slammed down their throat. It's why President Trump in the White House has advocated so strongly for school choice across the country. We want kids to be taught to love our country. They should. It is the greatest country in the history of the world.
Yeah. So what do you think about that, what she says about her generation? You deal with young people. So what do you think about her characterization?
Well, I think two things. Yes, it's an advertisement for school choice because, this idea that schools don't teach religion or public schools don't teach religion or they don't teach values is insane. Of course they do. The moment they removed religion, they were teaching a religion. So parents should have school choice because just like parents should be able to pick a school that's safe or where kids actually learn how to read and write, and the 2 + 2 is 4, not 5. They should also go to a school, have the option to go to a school, as Governor Shapiro did in sending his children to a Jewish day school. All parents should. But to the other issue, I think it's been the fact that it started with everybody gets a trophy.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea that I think a lot of the problem is not just simply overt left wing, that America's evil or George Washington was a slave owner and Abraham Lincoln isn't all that he was made up to be. That's no doubt part of it. But I think it's been this sense of it's a misguided understanding, if you will, a bastardization of compassion and tolerance, in that everything's okay. It's sort of the 2020 version of I'm okay, you're okay. It's okay. You can be a cat. It's okay. We're not going to celebrate winning. Everybody gets a trophy. So you teach that mindset where everybody graduates, everybody gets an A, everybody has a 4.0, everybody gets to go to college, and then they hit the real world and they started to change the real world to reflect it. So there is no doubt that a lot of this is about left wing, or a lot of it's about second guessing and tearing down America. But I think another part is that we raised a generation of kids that we bubble wrapped, and we're so desperate to make sure they never got hurt that they never got hurt, and then they have this misguided sense of compassion. And compassion is, you have to accept whatever Susie says. And if Susie says the exact opposite in 10 minutes, we have to accept it. And if she says the exact opposite tomorrow, she can be a boy, she can be a girl. And rather than saying, wait, there's a difference between tolerance and genuine kindness, and there's a difference between tolerance and right and wrong. And by the way, it's okay if the kids down the block, if we're going to be tolerant of Johnny who says he's Susie, we should be tolerant of the kid in the yarmulke. But that part of it seems to have gotten lost out. So I think at its core it's left wing, but I think this, the second part is sort of a lazy. The stool has sort of the left wing leg. It has this sort of misguided tolerance, and then it's everybody gets a trophy, which leads us to that. Having said that, I think that there's a split. It's not only male-female, Mary, with this idea that, like, the young men, the kids, the image a few years ago of the fraternity running out to save the American flag from being burned down in South Carolina. But I think the kids, again, not as a stereotype, and I have no idea what my parents, the girls that I teach, and I've never, ever don't talk about politics. There's a wall that everybody knows I keep when I coach. But I think the kids that go out and about in sports they're a different animal. They are much more, again, left, right, or center. They're much more of what you and I remember. I think there's a dichotomy. I think the kids that are less social and are more addicted to their phones, because the kids I coach are as they get older, but the ones who do whatever your thing is, it's dance, it's ballet, it's karate, it's softball, it's tennis, it's lacrosse. Those who go out and experience winning and losing every day in teamwork, and they're just wired differently. And I think they're much more wired like 1980s or 1990s kids. Again, there are some kids who are coddled and whatever, but I think I think there's a split that we don't like to talk about, and that is the young boys and girls that go out and do those activities are much more like you and I from growing up than we talk about. I don't think it's a genuine universal. That doesn't mean that when they go off to college and, everybody gets an A, and it's okay if you don't graduate, you can stay 5 or 6 years. It's okay, just get a free student loan because the government should pay for it. But I do think there is that other split, and that's why we have to have the pushback, and not just the people. It's not only a pushback; it's sort of a reset. It's a reset. Yeah. You can be tolerant of the other child without necessarily embracing what he believes. Some children in the class come from parents who are atheists. Some are devout Christians. Some are Roman Catholic. Some are Jewish. We can tolerate each other without anyone's values being forced down our throat, including the idea that the Jewish child shouldn't have a yarmulke, or the Catholic child shouldn't have a rosary, or any other thing. And we went too far. Tolerance meant religion go away. Tolerance meant parents go away. And that's why I think it was misguided. And that's why I say it's not just a pushback, it's a reset. Yeah. Not that everything in 1984 was perfect, But there are some very much American values about personal responsibility and parents and community that were good, and we need to restore them. And that's our republic that we need to save and pass along, that, used to unify us, right? The two parties agreed on certain things, and we were as much as it was, the bad part of the past was the swamp and the insiders, and the president has talked about that and exposed a lot of it, and others like you have as well. But the other part was there were certain things that were not up for debate. Communism versus capitalism,
right.
The security of the United States, things like that. And we need that to come back to be mainstream, where, to your final point about saying it out loud, where you can say out loud, we should secure the border, and nobody thinks that's strange. We should support our police officers, and nobody thinks that's strange. Capitalism is far superior than communism or socialism or whatever you want to call it. And then once we all agree to the values, then we can have a debate over the how-to. Right now, this is a pushback to restore the values. When we're successful about restoring the values and giving them air and oxygen and letting them grow, then we can go back and debate the how-to. But right now, this is a fight for values. This is not a debate about how-to. This is about values, and it's imperative that traditional American values win out.
Yeah, no, very, very well said. You can catch Guy's columns at broadandliberty.com and also Real Clear PA. And he's at the Commonwealth Foundation. He's everywhere. I mean, he's just everywhere. If you want to find him, look for him on a softball field, probably as well too. It's probably a good place to find him as well. You do it all, Guy. Thank you so much. I love your commentary just on the state of us. You know what I mean? I just enjoy it because I think it's really spot on, and I love that you work with the kids, and I think that gives you a whole different perspective because you're seeing them in a totally different light than the rest of us see them, their parents see them, and their teachers see them. And I think it's really cool. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I hope you get 5 minutes to rest before your next job. Thanks for all you do.
Oh, thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
All right. We've got more coming up on 1210 WPHT. Don't go anywhere.
I know
Hi,
that
this is
hiring
Dave
can be
Barlow
challenging.
from Barlow Buick GMC in Woodbury, New Jersey. Baseball season is heating up, and so are the savings here at Barlow. The All-Star Buick GMC lineup is waiting for you. Leading off, the powerful GMC Sierra, built to knock expectations out of the park and be the MVP of every road trip. Visit Barlow Buick GMC this summer, where honest pricing and dedicated service are always part of the lineup, or shop 24/7 at barlowautogroup.com. Buick, exceptional by design. GMC, we are professional grade.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free, and you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission. $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote. Call 800-453-2609. 800-453-2609. That's 800-453-2609.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. After 15 years and over 50,000 cancellations, I can tell you with confidence, we know how to get you out of your timeshare. Call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit guide absolutely free with all your options for cancellation. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767. Tune in to the Crash Proof Retirement Show Saturdays at 11 a.m. to hear Joanne Small-Canella and Tracy Stillman. The Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturday mornings at 11 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Now back to the Piazza Auto Group studios. Experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. This is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
All right, let's stay a little. Let's get a little local here, just for a hot second, shall we? There's just so much to talk about. Let's talk about Governor Josh Shapiro. He has not been having a lot of wins lately. He tried to play both ways on the whole Great American State Fair, and it didn't work out at all. And John Fetterman and Mike McCormick called his bluff, and they got the job done the way it should be done. Bipartisan, like Guy was just talking about. I may disagree with your political views, but I can work together to make Pennsylvania look really good. And because that story went viral, the Pennsylvania exhibits like the hottest one because everybody wanted to see it now. They also heard there were free potato chips. So there's that. That's a good selling point. But he tore into New York Socialist congressional nominee Daria Liza Avilia Chevalier. All right. And he said that her district voted for her, but I have profound differences from that particular candidate. And he talks about, I want to go to cut 21 first. I think I want to go to cut 21 first. We'll see how this works out. I think I want to go there first. We'll see what happens. But he was on CNN, and he was talking to Dana Bash, CNN State of the Union yesterday. And he's talking about what he would do, and he's trying to walk the line, is basically what I'm trying to say here. And it's not going to work out for him because it's even hard to explain, because he bashes the chick who is like the flat out communist, right? But then at the same token, he's in a party that told him you can't be our VP candidate because you're Jewish. And they've gone from that to just being flat out anti-Semitic. Right. So he's trying to balance this, and it's just not working out for him. And it's really, really hard. So let's start with cut 21. And this is Josh Shapiro with Dana Bash on CNN yesterday.
Daria Liza Avila Chevalier, she was a PhD candidate at Columbia, an organizer. She called for the abolition of prisons, open borders, ended deportations, even people convicted of violent crimes. She attended a pro-Palestinian rally on October 8th, 2023, a rally that reportedly featured some real anti-Semitic rhetoric justifying the attack. How do you feel as a Democrat about someone with those views being in the United States Congress?
Look, her district voted for her, but I have profound differences from that particular candidate, based on the citations that you read there. And she's not someone, who seemingly I would agree with on many things, or that we share similar values. She ran on the Democratic ticket, I guess, as a socialist. Her voters in that district determined that she was the one they wanted representing her.
But what does that tell you about your party?
I think what our party has to go through that will be very healthy and something we've not really done since the 1992 election cycle is to have a battle over what we believe in.
Sorry. Sorry about that. I think what he is trying to do is trying to navigate this whole thing, that there is going to be a battle in the Democrat Party, but he's trying to position himself that no matter who comes out of this, he's going to be on top. Well, if the left comes out, he's definitely not on top because they're just flat out anti-Semitic. All right, they have a guy. The left in the Democrat Party wants to elect a guy with a Nazi tattoo. I got news for you, Josh. They're not going to have you. And Kamala Harris, who was kind of running in the middle, was like, oh, he's a liability because of the other side of the party. So if the middle comes out, the far left is never really going to go away. Will they break off and form their own party? Maybe. But it's easier for them to get on ballots if they run as democratic socialists. All right, so he's walking the line there. Now let's go to cut 20, where he talks about what he would do with reforms that the left is calling for should they win the House and the Senate back, what they want to do. So Dana Bash asked him about this because this is really not the middle. This is really the left pushing the middle farther to the left. And here's his answer.
But the Supreme Court has been incredibly infuriating at times. There are a number of people in the Democratic Party, including an institutionalist named Joe Biden I once worked for, who he's like a neighbor, as we know.
He was known as our third senator.
He was known. He might call himself that too. Who have called for reforms to the Supreme Court, to expansion of the court, to term limits on the court. What do you think about that?
I think we need to be open to all of that and more. I think we need to consider more amendments to our Constitution.
Yeah, we need to be open to all of that and more. So the court, we don't like the way the court rules, so we need to pack it so that the other side could never, ever get a win again, that the law will be interpreted the way we want it to be interpreted. It doesn't matter what the law says, but it has to be interpreted the way we want it. We need activist judges on the Supreme Court. We need more people like Ketanji Brown Jackson, who doesn't know what a woman is. She can't define a woman. We need more of her on the Supreme Court because she's just an ideologue. She's not a judge. She's not a justice. I'm sorry. Ketanji Brown Jackson is an activist. That's what she is. The other two, less crazy. So he's again. This is where he's back to the other way now. Now he's back to the other side, and I think that he's going to have a problem, and he's very careful about angering the far left. He doesn't want to counter them. He doesn't want to anger them. So he tries to walk down the middle. I don't know. Can he do it? I don't know. I don't think he can. You can feel free to disagree with me, 855-839-1210, and of course you can tag me in a post on X, but I don't think he can walk down the middle. I just don't think he can because the two sides are so disparate. They're so far apart that, at least with the Tea Party, they wanted a move back to the founding documents. They wanted a move back towards a more conservative America, whereas the far left wants socialism. They just want to tear it all down, and they don't want to preserve anything about this country. They want to rebuild it because socialism and communism has worked so well in the past that, they think that that'll be a really good thing to do. So I just don't think that you could do that when they're so far apart. I want to go to cut 22 because, again, compare and contrast what I'm going to play for you here with what you heard from Shapiro, who's all wishy-washy and trying to make everybody happy. Here's Senator Fetterman.
Now, for me, what my real concern is the Democratic Party is going to become and put it into the platform, is an anti-Israel party, that Israel does not have the right to defend itself and to exist. And the second that becomes a formal part of our platform, and that's the one thing that would push me out of this party, because I'm deeply alarmed the way the Democratic Party is going after Israel and allowing to just rank anti-Semitism to flourish, in the left on the campuses as well too.
Fetterman's the one who's like, hey, they put that Israel does not have the right to defend itself in the platform of the Democrat Party. I'm out. As soon as that becomes a formal part of our platform, I'm out. I don't know where he goes, though, because he votes with the Democrats most of the time. So he is more common sense, but he still votes with them most of the time. So I don't know whether he resigns. I don't know what he does. But at least Fetterman has the guts to draw a line in the sand and say, I'm sorry, but I'm not down with all your behavior just because you're my team. So I'm just going to sit here and be okay with it. That's not going to happen. And Shapiro is like, I'm just going to bounce around and I'm going to try to make everybody happy. And he's making nobody happy. And he looked the fool again with the whole Great American State Fair. He looked like an idiot. Because it's pretty obvious, in my humble opinion, that he lied. Because he said, oh, we couldn't get any vendors. We tried. I made a bunch of calls to businesses and nobody wanted to do it. So there was no interest in it. And then Fetterman and McCormick turn around and say, hey, I made a few phone calls. And all of a sudden people are like, yeah, we'd love to do this. So you tell me, did Shapiro lie? Yeah, it pretty much sounds like Shapiro lied. And listen, politicians lie. We know they do that all the time, but it just was a really, really, really bad look when your own senators, show you for who you are and show you for having lied. That's really bad, in my humble opinion. Okay, I want to go to cut 15 here. Just a little. Do we have time for? You know what? I just want to bring this out very quickly, and then I'll go to this. And I got something fun, a fun thing to share with you before we go, because I'm not with you tomorrow. Just one thing with Thomas Massie, and I had said earlier that I wanted to bring this up because I'm not 100% down with Thomas Massie. I used to really, really like him, but he's the guy who can't take a half a loaf of bread. If he's hungry, he's got to have the whole loaf. He has to be exactly what he wants, or he's not taking any of it, and then he gets nothing done. And that's useless. So when you're a politician, you have to be able to represent your people, yes, and your people probably want the entire Save America Act, and they want ID, and they want to get rid of it, they want it back to absentee ballots, etc. But if all you can get is ID, then you take the ID. But Thomas Massie's that guy who's like, I'm not taking any of it. He's an ideologue, and you have to represent your people, in my humble opinion. Well, the House of Representatives backed a measure last week that would force the disclosure of lawmakers who used taxpayer funds to settle sexual harassment claims. We know they have that slush fund, right? We know they have that. And that came out during the whole, Me Too, the Me Too movement. Remember all that with the creepy guy, Harvey Weinstein? Remember all of that? Believe all women until she's accusing one of us, in which case she's a whore, don't believe her. Right? Like, there's that whole thing. Don't pay any attention to her. So we found out about this congressional slush fund that they used to pay people off. So the resolution was introduced by Thomas Massie, and this resolution would require the House Ethics Committee to preserve and publicly release records related to monetary settlements involving sexual misconduct. He forced a vote on the resolution, and he argued that gaps in reporting requirements enacted in 2018 may still allow taxpayer-funded settlements to remain hidden. And he said he figured this out because there haven't been any cases at all involving any members repaying sexual harassment settlements since 2018. He's like, which tells me they must have quite a number of them. His resolution would specifically direct the Ethics Panel and the Office of Congressional Workplace Rights to publicly report sexual misconduct cases involving lawmakers and their staff that resulted in taxpayer-funded settlements, along with the total amount of taxpayer money sent. Okay. The final vote was 420-0, with Nancy Mace abstaining. Now, she abstained. She argued that the vote was nothing more than political theater after she released information earlier this year showing the federal government paid out more than $330,000 to settle sexual harassment claims since the early 2000s. Now, here's the thing. This sounds good on its face. Like, I think this sounds great on the surface. Yeah. They should bear it all. I want to know where my money's going. I agree with that. But unless you know all the facts attached to it, I think some people may get caught up in somebody who just paid somebody because it wasn't real. They're like, you know what? I'm going to pay this person $1,000 and they're going to go away. And the person takes $1,000 and they're like, okay, fine, I'm out. And they go. To me, there's that possibility there that you're just going to be guilty because your name appears and a dollar amount for a claim. There are plenty of people who sue. I mean, look at E. Jean Carroll. Look at Christine Blasey Ford. Those women made some very serious allegations, and if it weren't for Brett Kavanaugh's weird penchant for writing down everything he does in his life, he would have been ruined. But nobody could back up her story. It was her word against his. So in situations like that, I think people just pay out to make them go away. They're like a crazy person. They make them go away. And you say, I would never do that. But you'd be surprised how many people who are business owners pay out all sorts of claims because they get a lawsuit because I slip and fell in your store. But if you pay my $500 in medical bills or you pay this, I'll go away. It happens all the time. Happens the time with doctors. Doctors who get sued, they get sued constantly because it doesn't cost you anything to sue doctors. No negative to it. So they sue and the insurance company says, look, we're not fighting this. This is stupid. It's going to cost us more to fight it than it is to just give them $5,000 and have them go away. So it happens. But yet people will look at a doctor's record and say, oh, she settled a lawsuit right there, settled a lawsuit. She must be a terrible doctor. Not exactly always what happens. So I don't necessarily love it. I kind of get it, but I don't love it. If you know what I'm talking about. All right, we got to go. We are out of here. I will not be with you tomorrow, and you're just going to have to wait until Wednesday for my fun story. That's it. That's just the way it's got to be. I'm Mary Walter. Have a great day tomorrow, and I will see you on Wednesday on 1210 WPHT.
To 15-year-old Harper, buying an $80